Hi guys. I don't know if we're live. Let me know if you can see me. How's it going? I'm on time. Kind of just clicked 301, so I'm kind of on time. But anyway, I see a few people are here. I just wanted to set up this live stream and kind of just chat with you guys. Because when I'm doing my live write-ins, I get chatty and people want to ask questions and we're all trying to work. So I was like, why not us do a live stream where you have my undivided attention to ask me whatever you want, and we'll just probably stay live for about an hour. And I'm here, guys. I'm here hanging out with y'all. And Dahlia's here. Desiree, hey, Ruki, Deidre, Terilyn, JC, Jess, hey, yes, Jess, I enjoyed my camping trip. It was really great. We went to a star party in the middle of nowhere. It's considered a Bortle 1, which is kind of the darkest skies that you can get, like, ever. It's kind of like as dark as it is out in the ocean. But yeah, Will caught some meteors on live stream, guys. If y'all haven't seen those videos, it's crazy. He's got one where he's like pointing this laser up, showing someone, I think it's Andromeda Galaxy. I don't remember exactly, but the meteor comes straight in. And I think his video has like 1 million views on TikTok. So yeah, it was very good. I got a lot of work done. I was editing the entire time that I was camping. So it was more of a workcation is what I like to call it, but it was really good. I enjoyed myself a lot. And yeah, I'm going camping again pretty soon in a couple weeks, and I will be editing at the same time. So camping and editing, they seem to go together. Let me read some of these comments. Hey, Ray. Lissa, Haley, and Dahlia. Am I saying your name right? I'm sorry if I'm not. It says, I normally can't make your write-ins because that's 3 a.m. or so for me. Yeah, I'm a late writer, so I get it. There are others who are like, I go to bed at 8. What are you doing? So Diana says, congrats on 7K. Yes, that's what we are celebrating today. I didn't think that when I created this channel, I would ever have over 1,000 subscribers. I don't know, like I never thought that it would grow to where it is now. And I know that it's like this channel is not the biggest channel in this niche or whatever, and that's okay. Like I'm good with that, because with more subscribers comes more responsibility. And you guys know that sometimes when I'm busy writing, I don't make videos because writing is number one and YouTube is just kind of like a little hobby. So, oh, good. I pronounced it correctly. Dennis, thank you so much, Dennis. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm here for you guys. What do y'all want to talk about? Y'all want to talk about writing? We just had a book that needed to be uploaded yesterday at 7 p.m. and we made our deadline with 3 hours to spare. And like I said, while I was camping, I was doing nothing but editing, and then Brooke came behind me and was editing behind me and writing, and just it was a lot that happened in the last week. So I slept a lot better last night knowing that that book was uploaded and that we weren't going to lose our pre-orders, and that we completed that project, because I was a little worried there. We've never missed a deadline like that. Like I wasn't concerned of like we were going to miss it or not upload in time or whatever. It's just, when you're down to the very minute or hours, like days, whatever, that you need to have your book uploaded, and you depend on other people. Like our editor is great and she got us our document in time, but like you never know what's going to happen. Like sometimes people have good intentions and then an emergency happens and then you don't have your edited document and then you can't upload it on Amazon. And so my brain just created a bunch of scenarios that didn't happen, thankfully, but I was concerned. JC says, wait, I didn't get any notifications of Will going live with a meteor shower. So It was on Instagram, I believe, where he was live streaming. If you follow him on Facebook, he actually got banned for 7 days, and then Facebook was like, "No, you're banned for 30 days for calling someone." Well, it's not even like a horrible name. It was like it's like equivalent to calling someone like a koala. A smooth brain is what he said, and so he got banned from Facebook for 30 days. And so um, he was arguing with, not arguing, he was having a discussion with someone who was really stupid, and essentially Facebook banned him for 30 days so he couldn't live stream on Facebook while he was at the star party. So he was on Instagram. And I believe the reels are on Instagram and TikTok, so you can catch the highlights there. Thanks so much, guys. Gregory, yes, you can ask questions right there. Lysandra says, congrats on reaching 7K. Thank you so much. Ruki says, have you buy any good candles lately? So my favorite scent of fall candles is vampire's blood, and I bought like 8 of the same scent. It was just all that. It was all of that completely. And I think I got some, I think it was pumpkin cheesecake maybe. But I haven't burned them yet because I have so many, because I've got a problem with Bath and Body Works. I will buy them when the fall scents come out, and then I can't burn them quick enough because I get the big ones. I had 2 deadlines yesterday that I wasn't able to hit, but I'm on track to finish today. I just finished my outline for book 1 in my first series, and I hope to finish the series map today. Awesome. I hope you do, Jace or SJ. That would be awesome. What's the favorite item on your bookshelf? There's so much on it. Oh man. So my bookshelves are extremely, they're a mess right now. I need to go through them. Story of my life. But if I had to choose, I don't know. That's hard. That's really hard. I'll have to think on that one. Because there's like some personal things on there, and then there's like things that are like, you know, like I love my cat. So like this picture right here, like I love that photo. And then of course, like I'm trying to do this backwards. Whoops, this way. My birthstone is a coffee bean. Brooke got me that one year for Christmas, and I love coffee. You know, there's just a lot of stuff on there. There's a lot. And JC says, okay, I don't have Instagram. Tell him to dispute that Facebook. He did dispute it, and they upped it to 30 days. That's what happened. So, you know, you have people on Facebook who will just curse you out, and Facebook will say, oh, we don't deem this offensive, but you say something's childish, and they're like, nope, you should have called them a cuss word. Office tour. Jess, if you saw how much of a mess my office really was, like this right here is pretty bad. It's just not tourable at this point. I probably should have prepared better. I have this thing that when I am writing a book, my office kind of becomes like a catch-all. And so like I'll stack mail on my desk, and I'll buy books and I'll put them on my desk, and I'll just throw different things in my office. And after I finish a book, I always have to clean it. And so I'm at that point where we finished this book yesterday, and now I need to clean my office to get it back to where it needs to be for the next book that is releasing on like November 17th or something. This next month is going to be Stress City. Terrellyn says, I want to help fellow new aspiring authors. I'm still new, but there are some things that we just don't know in starting out. What advice could you give me for approaching this? So if you are brand new, just starting out, and you don't really know anything about self-publishing and all of that, I would say the first step, honestly, is to start writing the book. Because when I first started writing, it was in 2011, and it was the very beginning of 2011. And I would get stuck around the 15,000 or 20,000 word mark, and I would never finish projects. I wanted to write a book, but I could not finish it. And you can't be an author without a book, so you have to start there. Like, that's the first step, is writing it. And I would get so caught up in reading books about writing. And like, there's probably still on my shelf, like, different types of books on how to write, how to use a voice, how to do this, how to do that. So I was really caught up in how to do it instead of actually just trying to do it. And it kind of brings me to my point that finishing is number one, absolutely. And what helped me finish my first book was Nanowrimo. And like, I can't do Nanowrimo now. Like, I've tried. I've only ever won one time, and that was in 2011. And it just gave me the motivation and, like, I guess, the confidence that I could start a project and actually finish it. And of course, after you have the book, there's like a number of things that you should do or can do to get your work out there. YouTube is a great resource. There's a lot of people who are sharing their journey as they're going through it. And I find those videos very helpful, like, just to see other people's struggles and like what they didn't know, and kind of, when you go to an author tube or like an author who's sharing that experience, it kind of like makes the time that it would have taken you to research it and figure that stuff out on yourself, like, it's a smaller time. Um, you don't have to Google and research and research and research. There are people out there who's giving you the information, so you don't have to waste the time to try to figure it out on your own. And of course, like, Google is your friend. Honestly, Google can help teach you pretty much anything with publishing. And so many people are sharing their experiences now that I think it's easier to find the information to, like, how to self-publish. But with writing, craft books slowed me down. I would just think that I needed to read all these books before I could write, when really I just needed to write and learn what my own personal weaknesses were, and work through those. Hopefully that helps. I don't know. Let me know, Terrelyn. Thank you. Facebook is the worst. Yes, my coffee. Yes, Desiree, for sure. Birthstone coffee beans. I would wear a coffee bean as a necklace. Somebody's probably already created it. They must be trying. Yeah, this was like, I think right before the whistleblower stuff went on. So it was like kind of funny. I was like, see, y'all know why Facebook went down? It's because Will got those people involved and said, you know what? If I can't have Facebook, y'all are all getting shut down. So it's the word smooth that's offensive. I will let him know. What is your dream writing vacation? If you could go anywhere and write without having to worry about anything else, where would you go? See, it's a dream writing vacation, so I actually need to be working. I would say Yellowstone, but I know that when I got there, I would not work at all because there's just so much to see. Um, you know, I've thought about the Appalachian Trail and hiking it and hand writing the experience. And I'm sure there have been tons of people do that already, but I think that it would be just fun to kind of have like a diary of that specific adventure, because it is so intense to hike that. Um, but if we're just talking about like a place where I can bring my laptop and not worry about anything, hmm, I think I'd probably want to go do like a Hawaiian escape, with the water and just that whole experience, I think would be fun. And if I'm not worrying about anything, I don't have to worry about being gone too long for like my cat or my mom. So yeah, let's do Hawaii. That would be fun. Uh, gonna follow up. Can you write without internet access? Is this a follow up to JC's question, or is there one that I missed? Um, so I can write without internet access. I feel like I'm actually more productive if I don't have the internet because I tend to chat with people and, just I get distracted. The internet is a huge distraction. I would love to support you as well. Not published yet. I have the issue she was talking about of not finishing, but I promise the dream and the want are there. So Jess, I literally struggled for 11 months. I started in January of 2011. I wrote like 15,000 words and thought that it sucked, and so I trashed it. And so then I restarted the story because I really loved it and got to about 18,000 words and trashed it. And I guess I just didn't have the confidence to get past the beginning because they say in all the craft books and all the authors who are making billions of dollars are like, you need to hook people on the first page. And so for me, it was, am I hooking people in the first page? I don't know. And so I would read the first page and I would just read the first chapter and I'm like, but I don't feel like this is hooky enough. And so I trashed the first three chapters because the first chapter wasn't right. And I never felt like I could get it right. And I was like really dead set on finishing this book. And so I literally Googled writing competitions because I am a very competitive person. And if I can challenge myself, I typically will do the thing that I need to do to win whatever it is. And I found Nanowrimo. And I had never heard of that before because this was 2011. The internet was different. I didn't have any friends who were writers who had ever talked about Nanowrimo. And I went to the website and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. 30 days to write 50,000 words. And I was like, I need to do this. I have to do this. I know my story. I know my characters. I just need to finish. That's the main thing. And so I did it. And at the end, when you win NaNoWriMo, they used to, I don't know. I haven't won since 2011, but they played this video at the end and it was like confetti and like people like clapping. And it was like, I cried. I was like, I felt like I just ran a marathon. I was like, I finished my first book. What am I going to do? I'm going to be an author. I'm going to be the next J.K. Rowling. I would not want to be her now because she says things that I don't agree with. But yeah, it was it was exactly what I needed. And then after I finished the first book, I did rewrites on it, ended up getting a publishing contract on it. And I knew at that point that I could be an author. NaNoWriMo gave me the confidence that I needed to know that I could actually start and finish a project. Because before that, it just didn't happen. I couldn't do it. Question. Do you ever create mood or Pinterest boards for your books? Or do you guys crank them out so quickly that you don't even have time to do all of that? It's like, you know me, JC. So in the beginning, we did create Pinterest boards just because it's fun to do the mood boards and find little inspiration pictures or photos that look like your characters or, places, people, places, things, outfits, houses, whatever. And we did it for a while. And then it just was kind of like, is this helping us any, or is this kind of like one of those things that's a time suck? And I personally feel like Pinterest is one of those things that is a time suck. There are authors who do Pinterest ads and they have said that they have been great, but I feel like I don't know, with Pinterest, I feel like people are going there to solve a problem. Like they're using it as kind of like a search engine, um, or to make mood boards and things like that. Like when I go to Pinterest, I'm searching on how to do something. Um, or I'm looking for specific photos of like landscaping or vacation destinations. I don't know. Um, but we don't anymore. We do have a Pinterest account. I have a Pinterest account for Lyra Parrish. It was something authors did back in 2013, 2014. That was really big. And there are authors still today that do it who are really great at it, but I don't feel like it's beneficial. If you spent your time on Instagram or TikTok, I think you would actually see sales from that. I don't think that Pinterest converts for authors. And maybe it does for some people. I haven't found that it does for us. Desiree says, I'm stuck at the 33K on my first book. I'm having a hard time getting the confidence to get back into it. Yep, I understand. I understand how that is. NaNoWriMo is coming up. Just want to say that. November 1st through the 30th. And although you have 33,000 words, you could always be a Nano Rebel and just say, hey, I'm going to join in on the community part of Nano. There's hashtags that go around, and I've met people back in 2011 who I'm still friends with off of Twitter, and just join the community and, you know, get into it and find that motivation in other people who are kind of like struggling the same as you, and then cross that finish line. I mean, Nano's a great time. It's like my fiscal year. I'm always like, everybody should do Nano if they can't finish a book, because it worked for me. Hold on. I'm reading questions real quick. And yeah, 33K, like Jess says, is a huge win. That's half a book. Like you're halfway done. Um, unless you're writing like this crazy like fantasy book that you think is going to be 100,000, then you're 25% done basically. But no, 33%. Yeah, 33% done. Deidre says, have you had any KF books that you guys plotted out yet? You just can't seem to write when it's time to write it. What do you think? What do you do when you get stuck even with an outline? I would say no. We haven't ever plotted out books that we haven't written. Typically, when we're plotting, it's with the intention of writing the book basically directly after we plot it. But as Lyra Parrish, I do have several outlines of books. They're not great outlines, let me just be honest, but I do have outlines of books that I have not written. Maybe eventually one day. I need to go look at them again. It's been a while. But with outlining, the big thing when I wrote by myself was if I could just get the beginning and the middle and the end, I could figure out while I was writing what needed to happen to get me to those main points. And I found that when I skip around, so if, for example, I've written, I'm trying to think of which book it was. I think it was Ace. It was a rockstar romance that I wrote. I wrote the first half of it, and I couldn't, like, I just got stuck because my outline was not that great. But I knew where I needed to go to get to the end. And so after I got to the midpoint of the book, I essentially figured out and sat down and plotted the last half, like kind of like point for point, and then just wrote out of order. And with Kennedy Fox, it's hard to answer because we don't start the book until the outline is complete. Like it's completely fleshed out. We've got all of our chapters broken down, and we know exactly, you know, what's going to happen. And there are some times when our outlines and our plot points do change. And then Brooke and I have to get back together and kind of be like, okay, well, this really isn't going to work because this happened and it doesn't really make sense. So let's figure out another solution or something else that we can put in this chapter to make it better. Um, but yeah, I mean, no, not really. I'm sorry that that's not a very good answer to your question, or maybe it is. We usually don't have time to get stuck with outlines. We have to just work through it. And sometimes, like, if we're like, man, okay, let's stop here and come back the next day, me and Brooke will just kind of like throw things at each other, like, well, what if this happened? Or what if this happened? Or what if this and this happened? Just to up the ante, because you don't want it to be boring. You want it to be well fleshed out and make sense with your story, but also be complete, where you tie up all the ends and not too dramatic, because sometimes in romance, like, people will just throw curveballs and you're like, where did that come from? I don't know. Um, I feel you, girl. I told myself I would write a book this year, but I got caught up in the craft books and only have the book plotted, hoping to write in Nano. Yeah, I spent so much money on craft books and reading about how to write. I just never wrote anything. Oh, S for poo. Got it. There may be, none of them are named Courtney. I think the Appalachian Trail sounds nice. My dream vacation is a villa in Italy. JC, yes. Oh my gosh, Italy. They've got amazing wine, right? I'm a wine drinker. I love me some wine. So I don't know if I would be getting any writing done. Maybe it'd be like a drunk writing sesh. But yeah, that does sound nice. A little villa. I can just hear the sounds of like the streets and the language. And I have finished books, but I'm afraid to publish because I'm afraid to do it wrong. I can only get one debut and I don't want to waste it. How do you give yourself the best chance of succeeding? I would say, let me just say this real quick. I know that you can only be a debut author one time. And no matter how great you make this book, you will, if you continue to write and 5 years later you go back to that first book, I promise you, you will be like, I have grown so much. That was the best book that I could have published right then. But there will be a point in your career where you are better than that first book. Always. If you're not growing, then you're not learning anything. And you're just, I don't feel like you would really go anywhere. And so at some point, you have to let your book baby go and put it into the world and make the mistakes, because making the mistakes teaches you so much about yourself in publishing. And it makes you better. It makes you a better writer and storyteller, makes you a better business person, when you make those mistakes. If you released and you did it perfect, then where would you go from there? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, there's no way to do it wrong when you're new. I mean, you can just put your book out there and not market it and do all that or whatever, but you should always learn something from that. And you want to set your first book up for success. You want it to sell. You want to do all the things that you can possibly do for it, like, have your social media set up, create your newsletter, learn how to do some small Facebook ads, be active on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you have a good blurb, a cover that matches your genre. Your book is well edited and it's not full of typos or riddled with errors from the get-go. You want to just make sure that you're really setting yourself up for success, but don't be so concerned with making the mistakes, because they're going to happen. You could literally study and learn how to self-publish and write the best possible book ever, and release it, and then maybe it doesn't sell like you wanted to, and then that is one of those things that kind of like messes with your mental health, and you're like, well, I suck and nobody bought my book and blah blah blah. So you have to just learn to let go of it and move to the next one. And that's really hard with your first book because you don't have the experience on how to release and publish, and there's all these things that you need to learn and do, and it can be very overwhelming. Like the book is is one of the hard parts, but getting it out there and finding people to read it and buy it, that I feel is harder than writing. Marketing is not easy. Finding people to buy your books is not easy. If it was, everyone would be writers. And um so, yeah, don't be afraid. It's scary, but you're just going to get better and you're going to continue to grow and you're going to continue to write. And every release that you have, you're going to look back at the previous one and go, "Okay, I know what didn't work for that book, so I'm going to try this the next time." And then eventually it just comes naturally to you to release. The first one is the hardest, I feel like. It's the biggest one. It's a new thing. It's the hardest because you have to let go of something that's so personal to you. That's your work, that's your art. So I think once you let go of it though and get over that fear and scaredness of all that, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So, man, I cannot believe I've already been here for 30 minutes. Y'all can shut me up if y'all want to. I might just ramble way too much. Oh, I haven't. The Pacific Crest Trail. I need to Google that. I'm about to write it down. Hold on. I'm going to put it in my phone. I love hiking, and I've learned this summer that I can keep up with people who are pretty fit. But uphill still kills me. So I need to work on my uphill hiking skills because my heart rate just gets way up there. Oh, Melanie, I'm sorry housework is calling you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you stopped by. Paula, what's your daily word count and how long does it take you to reach it? So something that I've learned over the years is that word count trips me up. So typically when I am making goals for writing, I do chapter goals because if I say, "Hey, you need to write me 50,000 words in November," that's overwhelming to me. If I say, "Hey, you need to write me 22 chapters in November," it's a smaller number, so I feel like it kind of messes with the psychology of your brain. So it's like, "Oh, I can do 24 chapters." 50,000 words, my brain goes, psh, 22 or 24 chapters. I'm like, I got that. So typically, what I try to do is I try to write a chapter per day when I'm in the writing mode. And a chapter is about 2,500 to 3,500 words for us. And so that's what I try to do. Sometimes I make that chapter and I will start another one. There are times when I will only write half of the chapter and go back to it. When I was working full time, my goal was to write one chapter Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday. So 2,500 words over a 4-day period. And so it would be about 600 words per night, Monday through Thursday. And then on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, I would try to write thousands of words because I got a lot of my writing done on the weekends because my work week was so hectic. I can write about 30,000 words and I can do it in about 7 to 10 days. But I have been doing this for a long time. I've been writing since 2011. So I've got 10 years of doing this under my belt. And if I needed to write a full-length book, like 50,000 words, I could probably do it in 2 weeks. And it would take me about 2 weeks to edit it. Because after I write, I go from the beginning to the end and self-edit before it goes to editors. And I do that with our Kennedy Fox books to make sure that, me and Brooke aren't repeating ourselves or make sure that the story makes sense as a whole, because we write out of order when we write together. Brooke may have chapter 1, 2, and 3, and I could have 4 and 5, and she could have 6 and 7, and then I could have 8 through 12. So, you know, hopefully that answers your question. Self-doubt is a beast. Self-doubt is the devil. Have you ever wanted to write something in a different subgenre of romance, like sci-fi, PNR? So yes, I started off writing young adult fantasy, and so I really love paranormal romance. I love Cara Marie Montag. Jericho Barons is my boo, and so I would love to create a world. I also like Dorinda Jones and Charlie. 10th Grave, 11th Grave, like all those books. I love those, and I would love to be able to write a story that was like a baby that Karen Marie Montag and Dorinda Jones had. Like, it would be like an epic 12-book fantasy romance tale with like all the, vampires and witches and stuff. But I've thought about it. It would not fit in a Kennedy Fox box because we write contemporary romance, but I thought about it. When Kindle Vella released and everyone was talking about Kindle Vella, I actually considered writing in Vella and doing a paranormal romance where I just uploaded like 2 chapters per week. But I realized that my writing schedule is already too crazy for the end of 2021, so it wouldn't have happened. Which web builder have you had experience with, and which was the best? I'm a new author and I'm trying to create my website. Hey, Gail. I would say to look into Divi, Divi. It is a drag and drop type of system where you kind of work in blocks for WordPress self-hosted. It's pretty easy to use. You can buy templates for it that are just absolutely beautiful, and just kind of fill in the blocks, and you can create a shop with it with WooCommerce, and it's very easy to use, and there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube. I started building websites when I was 16. My first website was a Dixie Chicks fan page on GeoCities. I just dated myself. When they had the MIDI music that you could put on websites. And so I've been doing websites for quite a while. And I built our Kennedy Fox website from scratch, and I'm actually in the process of redoing it now to just make it better and to kind of like increase our views, because we're getting a lot of hits on our website. But self-hosted WordPress will grow with you at whatever level you get to in your career. If you want to have a shop where you sell paperbacks and swag and whatever else that you want to do, if you want to just have a very basic web page as an author, so if agents or whatever want to contact you, you can do that. And it's just very customizable, essentially. Like any level, WordPress, self-hosted, get Divi, Divi. It's an elegant themes thing. You can find templates if you just kind of Google Divi templates online. There's some beautiful ones. And yeah, highly recommend. I've been using it for about 7 years. Can't say enough good things about it. How many books had you published before you made more than $100 to $500? Okay, so I just found something that I wrote when the very first month that I published my first book. And this was back in 2014. And I am going to read it to you if it's in my notes. I switched phones, so I have 2 iPhones right now. Like, it's in my old phone. I'm trying to still transfer everything over. But I'm going to read this to you real quick. Okay, so this is called My First Week of Being Published. And I put this on a forum. It used to be called Kindle I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it says, um, wait, hold on. I'm going to scroll down to the important part to your question. Is this not it? Okay, well, anyway, I'll get to the part that's important. Okay, so it says in the past week, this is the very first week that I released my first book, I've sold over 500 copies and have chatted with a lot of people. No one said being a published author would be easy, and it's not, but dang, it's fun. So I got a bunch of it's a very long post on the K boards is what the forum's called. It just came to me. And I didn't remember how many books I sold. Okay. Because for me, that was 2014. And I just don't remember those things. And so I went to my KDP dashboard, and this was recently. I had posted on, I guess, Reddit and answered people's questions about self-publishing. So I went back to the K boards and I was like, I need to find this post because I know that I posted it. And so anyway, I went back to my dashboard for KDP for my Lyra Parrish books. And I think in the first month I sold over 1,200 copies. I'll go look real quick and let y'all know, because I, as a new author, didn't think that I was doing that great. And now that I actually have experience publishing, I'm like, dang girl, like that's pretty awesome. Check you out. Like I did really well. And I didn't realize that, I guess, until recently, because I always downplay things, apparently. I don't know. I'm going to go log in to my bookshelf. So if I look like I'm reading something, I am. Let me go to my reports and I will tell y'all exactly what historical. There we go. Okay. So this is crazy. Okay, so I published January of 2014. And the first month that I published, I sold 1,462 books. And that was just with one book. That was January. In February, I sold 477 copies. In March, I sold 2,508 copies. In April, I sold 2,815 copies. And that was like the first 6 months of being a self-published author, or however many months that was, like the first 4 months. And that was my first 2 books. So I published in January, and this was before like quick releases were a thing. And so it was January, and then I published the second book in March. And so my sales like spiked. They just continued to climb. The first book ended on a cliffhanger. And then that little horrible devil of self-doubt came, and I couldn't write the third book and release it like I wanted to back to back. And I think that if I would have, my career would have been completely different. I talk about how that's one of the biggest mistakes of my self-publishing career that I needed to make, so I would understand that I shouldn't do that ever again. But I was doing pretty good, and I didn't know that until recently. I thought that I was sucking. It's like my books are not doing well, and but that's not reality. And so the first week I made my money back that I had invested into my book. So yeah, I think that it's still doable in 2021. I had no idea what I was doing. I had one friend who was self-publishing, who, if I name drop that friend, y'all would be like, well, she was a big deal. And she still to this day is a big deal. She had made USA Today and New York Times as an indie author. And she was like, hey, you need to do this. Your writing is good. You always have romance elements in your fantasy books, and you need to just write romance because that's what you're meant to write. And she encouraged me, and that was what I needed to even start this. And she wasn't guiding me or telling me what to do or whatever, but I knew that if I ever had any questions, I had a person who was very successful, making 6 figures a month who could guide me. And so, yeah, it was literally just being annoying on social media. Not driven by marketing, but just I always talked about my book. I want to clear up what I mean, but YouTube character limit makes it hard. My issue isn't finishing books. I'm published. I want to help fellow newbie aspiring authors. Terralyn, I'm behind. Oh my God, I'm behind like so bad. That message was at 3:23 and it's like, we might just have to live stream longer than 30 minutes. I'm sorry. Have you ever considered creating a course for authors? After all, you are a wealth of information with so much more experience than most. I've thought about it, JC, but it's kind of like if I was taking someone's money to learn about self-publishing, I would want to be able to give my undivided attention. I would want to be able to be there and really help bring people to the next level. And I just know with my schedule, I would not be happy with the amount of time that I would be able to give people. And when I start taking other people's money, I am obligated to that. And so I've thought about it. And maybe one day when I have more time and, life isn't so weird, maybe I would think about it. Someone asked me recently if I thought about, because I'm like, I can't do a course right now. I'd have to like lay it all out and it would take me a lot of time to record and edit. And I'm not always happy with my videos. So like I tend to delete them and re-record the same thing over and over. But someone asked me recently if I thought about offering coaching, like one-on-one, where someone can book an hour with me and ask all the questions that they have and just go through what their problem is, and maybe I can help solve it. And I thought about that too, and I'm like, oh man, but I obviously don't know how to shut up, and I can't condense my time down into 1 hour. And so I don't know. Maybe one day. I won't say never because I don't know. Yeah, Nano is amazing. I want to create a community where the authors can get those tips and such that help when starting out. Like I didn't go wide then starting out because I had no clue where to start. I want to help. Terralyn, why don't you create a group on Facebook? I mean, Alessandra Torre has her Inkers group and there's a lot of people in there and I always recommend it. And Facebook groups are pretty easy to manage. I mean, if you're really wanting to help somebody do that, you could always do YouTube. I feel like my posts may get seen more in a Facebook group than on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, if you want to create a community, do it. I believe in you. I think that you have things to offer to other authors and you're newer than I am. So, your experience is obviously going to be different. Everybody's experience is different publishing. And so I think that you have something to offer to people. Do it. Like for real. Create you a Facebook group, girl. Create you a YouTube channel. Start making Instagram stories. I used to do this thing on Instagram called Monday Hot Mess Monday because y'all know I'm a hot mess. And I would just talk about what I was doing in publishing and, what I was doing that week and trying to accomplish. You have so many places like that you can post tips and tricks and helpful hints and create a community to help new authors with Facebook and Instagram. What is it? IGTV, YouTube. You can make yourself a website, Jess, about KF, is there any reason some are so much more steamy than the others? Like, are those ones Brooke wrote on her own? Just curious. For instance, Baby Mine. No. We both, that's hilarious. We both write half of every book. So I wish Brooke was here to hear this question. Like, I need to send this question to her because she's going to be like, haha. Okay. She's not feeling well right now. So I'll text that to her later. But, so no, there's not a reason. Kind of like when we go into planning a series, like we know how it's going to be. So with our duets, they are more of a slow burn with um, suspenseful elements inside of it. So, like the Baby Mind series, you know that they don't do any adult things together until really the second book, right? You have to get through pretty much the whole book and you're like, oh wow, they just finally Hallmark kissed and the book ends and now you have to read the second book to get all the steamy stuff. So that's typically how our duets work. All of our duets are like that. If you read the Lawton Ridge duet, it's the same thing. You're going to have a slow burn, suspenseful elements. There's going to be some sort of drama. It's going to end in a cliffhanger and you're going to pick back up in book 2 and then you're going to get the happily ever after there. With the Love in Isolation series, it is a interconnected standalone series. So the couple has to kind of know each other. They need to wham bam, thank you ma'am, sometime in that book, and you get like a complete whole story. We did make the Love in Isolation series steamy, and the Best of Us, most of those scenes are the ones that I wrote. I know that there were several hanky panky scenes that I wrote. The Monopoly scene, for example, yours truly. I don't typically write those scenes a lot. Brooke is very good at writing them, and she can write scenes that go like 6,000 words. And so a lot of the times, if there's one big moment in the book, typically Brooke is writing that. If there is a book like The Best of Us or Love in Isolation, we're kind of like splitting those scenes. But I think it depends on what the series is like. So like with Bishop Brothers, you know, they started off kind of like the Love in Isolation series. They're not as steamy. I would say that Love in Isolation is probably one of the most steamy series that we have, for sure. But keeping him, it's kind of like a Hallmark moment, and they don't even hook up till like 100,000 words in. So you really get that slow burn. Oh my God, Kennedy Fox is going to kill me this book. They're not my favorite. I could skip them. I could easily write books for Hallmark and be completely okay with it. But I do write those scenes. Typically, if there's one, like I said, Brooke writes them, but The Best of Us, I wrote several of those scenes. The ones that seem like a straight up, never mind, I'm not even gonna say that. The ones that are like, we're just gonna move on. Okay. Hey, thanks, Jesse. I appreciate it. How early would you reveal the cover? How many months before release, I mean? Terralyn, is it a standalone or is it a series? I think that's going to determine my question. Because I feel like if you're going to release, like, say, a trilogy where you're releasing once every month for the next 3 months, I would release the covers. There's too many variables. Do you have pre-order set up? Because once you show the covers on your pre-order, you're going to get more pre-orders. We've done covers as early as, I think, 10 months, or yeah, early as 10 months out. And then we've done covers where we've released them like 6 weeks beforehand. It just depends on what our goal and what we were trying to accomplish at that point. But I don't feel like cover reveals are, I feel like it's something that could probably be skipped if you have a larger backlist, because cover reveals take a little bit of time. If you're doing a series, I think it's good to group them. Like for Circle B Ranch, that's a 12-book series for us. And so we would do the reveals of the covers in like groups of 3 instead of doing a cover reveal for every single book. That gets annoying and it burns your bloggers and people who share your stuff out. So if you can combine things together and have just one big cover reveal for whatever, and you have pre-orders set up, then I think to do one big one, maybe like 6 months before you release, so you can have those covers on all of your wide sites and then run some ads for pre-order to it, I think it would be better than waiting till right before. I understand why you asked that question because there is a lot of chatter about, oh, should I release my cover 6 weeks before, blah, blah, blah. I think it's kind of changed because pre-orders changed for us with Amazon. If that helps, let me know. If you want me to explain myself in a different way, or if I didn't answer that question correctly, just let me know. How often do you do 10K days, and would you recommend others to try them out? I'm giving 10K day a try for the first time today. So I haven't completed a 10K day in probably a year, if I'm being honest. 2021 has been kind of a crappy year for me. And so with everything that has gone on in my life, it was just impossible for me to focus for that long. I do like 10K days. They were very, very beneficial for me when I was working full time because I could just say on Saturday, I'm going to write 10,000 words. And I typically always made it. Sometimes I would be short, but if I planned it out beforehand, I would do it. And I think that it can be helpful. But if you're one of those people where you get caught up in the numbers and you're like, oh my God, I've got to make 10,000 words. And then, there's a lot of distractions or whatever the case is. I feel like it can also be discouraging and just not help in a way. Because people get upset that they don't make that word goal. And so that's just another negative to kind of focus on, I think it's fun. I think it's a fun challenge. I think it's fun to do it, but don't go at it so seriously that you're pissed at yourself if you don't make it. I like them. I just haven't been able to commit. I need to commit to one or two very soon because I'm about to have to write a book in about 10 days. What would your advice be about publishing on a Tuesday versus a Friday? My thinking is a lot of established authors publish on Tuesday, and I may be lost in the fray if I publish then. So your books are on all platforms, right? There is a benefit to releasing on Tuesdays, which is it allows you to basically qualify for USA Today. It's better because your pre-orders hit on Tuesday and USA Today runs from Monday to Sunday. And so if you can sell 5,000 copies from Monday to Sunday with all your pre-orders, and if you have a long pre-order, you could get 500, 1,000 pre-orders beforehand, and you never know when your book's going to go viral or whatever the case is, because I know that you're on TikTok. So I am a firm believer that Tuesdays is a great day. There is a lot of competition because traditional published authors release that day. A lot of indies release that day too. But if you are trying to make a list like USA Today, Tuesday is the day to do that. Also, a benefit for releasing on Tuesday is a lot of authors on Facebook, which I'm sure you've seen, will do these big posts. And it's like, happy release day. And they'll list all of the authors that they know of whose books are releasing that day. And a lot of those posts get copied and shared and whatever. And so you kind of get a little bit more exposure because you have other authors sharing releases that are on that day. But yeah, I mean, with pre-order and stuff, I'm a firm believer of Tuesdays. I know a lot of Kindle Unlimited authors release on Fridays because it's not as competitive and they feel like they get seen easier. But I think it all boils down to your own personal marketing, not necessarily the day that you release. How did you have a full-time job and write? What do you recommend for people? So it was difficult, but I was very eye on the prize with one day I'm going to quit this job and I'm going to write full time. And that's just the bottom line. That's what's going to happen. And so I really scheduled my time. I was very like to-do lists, like goal oriented with the things that I needed to accomplish. And life, nothing else mattered except for me making those word count goals and making sure that I was hitting all of my personal deadlines. I would say to try to schedule in your writing. I know that that's hard if you have a family, if you're working a full-time job, if you have smaller children, that's kind of difficult too because you have a baby, um, and they need to be fed when they need to be fed. It doesn't matter about your word count. I wouldn't know that. I don't have children, but I do have friends who have kids who are authors, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I would say scheduling time, using the weekends to your advantage, and to not beat yourself up. Like you're doing the best that you can with the time that you have, and eventually all the hard work will pay off. Um, I'm my own worst enemy, but I'm also my biggest fan. So I'm like, you know what? You suck, but you can also do this. So it's a lot of pumping myself up after beating myself down. And sometimes you just need to sleep. There were Fridays when I would get off work and I would just go to bed. I would just be so exhausted, and I'd wake up on Saturday and I would just write all day, and I would do 10,000 word days. But yeah, scheduling time is what saved me. I do about 1,000 a day if work has not been stressful. Weekends, I do try to get large amounts completed. Yeah, it's very helpful. What's your number one marketing advice for social media for writers? Use social media as a way to get your books out there, and not as a time suck. Like, okay, social media is great. It can make and help you sell a lot of copies. TikTok, if you're not on TikTok, you should definitely be on there. Using Instagram is helpful. I don't feel like it sells a ton of books. Facebook ads will Facebook ads can make your career. It really can. There are authors who are not active on social media and just spend the money on Facebook ads. I would say to figure out what your brand is on social media and stick to that. There are authors who are just all over the place. They will, post things that are unrelated to their books and their brand. And sometimes people get just super, really personal on social media, and it works for some. But I always try to think of my social media as a part of my business, and that it's always representing my books and my brand in a positive way. And I think that if you use social media correctly, then you can go viral, make a lot of money. It can change your life. But there are people who use social media as an excuse, and they're addicted to it. And so, there's those authors who are always like, oh my God, I can't make my deadlines, but they're always on Facebook, like starting drama. And I'm like, you can't meet your deadlines because you are too busy stirring the pot. Like, use it for your advantage. Don't use it as something to take your focus away from your books. Writing is always the most important thing. And then social media, I feel like, is second. Without a book, you can't be social as an author. Without something to talk about, you're just another influencer online. So yeah, brand it down, keep your social media niched, research hashtags, learn Facebook ads, use TikTok. I guess I don't really have a number one. Just don't be a D-bag online. There's enough of those already. Danielle, yes, I will be doing some live sprints. We are plotting tomorrow, I believe. So I'll probably be writing this week. That's incredible. In 2 years, I'm 2 years in and haven't sold 1,200 copies yet. I really didn't know. I didn't know because it's hard. People don't really talk about numbers online a lot. They're not like, oh, here's my dashboard. Here's how much money I made or whatever. So it was hard to gauge like what a good number was. I tell people, if you can make your expenses back in the first month, like, you're doing good, because there are a lot of people. I have friends who have never made their expenses back and they've got a handful of books out. So, um, yeah. JC says, have you ever given any thoughts to what your writing career looks like after Kennedy Fox? Do you ever feel like being one half of a duo keeps you from writing other books? Um, I don't. So with Kennedy Fox, like, I don't think that I'll ever not be half of Kennedy Fox. Does that make sense? Like, that will always be something that I'm working on. Like, Kennedy Fox is my main squeeze. And I know that if at any point I want to write any other books as myself, I can do that. I haven't signed any contracts with Brooke or anybody saying that I can't write other books. Absolutely can. And Brooke can write other books if she wants to as well. I mean, we're not like actually literary married to each other. Kennedy Fox, I believe, will always be around, but if we want to do other things, we can. I want to do I want to get a book traditionally published. And the reason that hasn't happened is because of me, not because of anything else. But yeah, I mean, if, for example, Brooke decided that, hey, I want to start writing under my name again, I would be like, girl, you go for it. What can I do to help you? I think that it would be more of a support system than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, I don't think that it holds me back any. And if she wrote other books and it like made New York Times, hey, that helps Kennedy Fox, right? Like, she's one half of this. So, buy these books too. And vice versa. If I wrote a book and it got like mega famous or something, I would be like, hey, y'all need to go check out Kennedy Fox because that's me too, So I think that it's just a benefit other than something that dampens something. I published mine in 2019 and sold just over 350 books. That's awesome. 2019, 350. So you've made your expenses back, hopefully, since March. Tegan. Oh, hey, doesn't Tegan kind of look like she's like my cousin? Like, we talk about that. Or like my sister from like another mister. She likes pizza, guys. I'm going to try to catch up. Paula, yes, I want to redo the marketing series. A lot of people have found that series that I've done recently, and it's so sad because all the comments are like, "Where's the third video? Is this coming soon?" Blah blah blah. But yes, it is. It's just my life kind of like made a turn for not the best. And I wanted to make sure that when I was releasing that series, it was thought out and put together and wasn't rushed. And so I just need to go back to it. I need to rewatch the first and second video because I really don't remember what I said. I have a list of the things that I was going to talk about next, which was websites, Goodreads, I think the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. But I just need to go back because there have been some things that have changed. The kids use Discord. I haven't figured out Discord. You're right. The kids are using it. I found that groups on Instagram built amazingly fast. Yeah, there are people who are very into watching IGTV and always comment on stuff. And, I've seen interviews on IGTV. It's great. You should do one-on-one. Terrellyn, if you only knew how many people have asked me for that. I don't know what this comment is in response to, so I guess I didn't. I'm reading this, sorry. I have things to be able to make a group, website, and even a new IG account. I bought some things, but self-doubt always stops me. Just go for it. Like, here's the thing. With, say, like YouTube, I put myself out there and there are people who don't like me and don't like the way that I talk and always have something to say. But some of the comments that I've deleted off of my videos, y'all would just be glad that I did because it'd probably piss you off as much as it pissed me off. But you can't worry about those people. You know what I'm saying? Like the people who there will always be someone who has something negative to say about you or your books or your brand or your um anything you're sharing. There's always going to be those people, but those are not the people that you do it for. You do it for the people that you're trying to help. You do it for the people that's going to get something out of it. And self-doubt, you just kind of have to get over it. It never goes away. Self-doubt will always be there. Every time I make a YouTube video, I'm like, nobody's gonna watch this. I scheduled my live today and I was concerned that nobody was gonna show up, that I was gonna be talking to myself. And that happens every time before I do something, every single time. So I don't think it ever goes away. I think you just have to kind of like smack it down and just move forward. And what happens, happens. You put yourself out there, you tried, and that's good enough. It just jumped, so I really don't know where I was. Um, oh, wait. Here we go. What has changed the most about your writing process since you've gone full time as an author? I think what's changed the most is I can write until I'm like just physically tired. Like, for example, when I was working full time, I would have to cut it off. I would have to say, at 2 o'clock, I have to shut my laptop. And I would set an alarm on my phone and I would shut my laptop at 2 o'clock unless I was under major, major deadline. And now it's like, oh, well, it's 2 a.m. and I'm a night owl and I've had 4 shots of espresso today. And you know what? I'm just going to stay up until I feel tired. I'm going to stay up till 5 a.m. I'm going to stay up until the sun rises today. And I think having that time freedom of just going to sleep and waking up when I want to is like what's changed the most. And it's affected my writing process because I don't have to say, today you have to write 500 words and just stop. It's today you need to do this. And when you're done, you're done. You want to work for 12 hours straight, you can do that. You want to cut it off at, 2 a.m., you can do that. As far as like the process of writing, a lot of it's stayed the same. Everything is still outlined. Chapters between me and Brooke are still divvied up. We still edit exactly the same. That hasn't changed. I think it's just mainly the time that I can spend on it has. I have been overwhelmed by word goals, and instead this week I'm working on the next scene and working to finish it. Yep, Kimberly, word goals freak me out. I don't know if I record videos and don't post them, but I had recorded a video where I talked about how word counts like stress me out. And so I essentially I stopped giving myself word count goals. I give myself chapter goals. By the end of the week, I need to have chapters 1 through 3 written. And that works for me because the numbers are smaller. If I say, hey, you need to write 2 chapters for me by Sunday. Or, hey, I need you to write 6,000 words for me by Sunday. Which one sounds easier? You know which one it is. It's the chapters. Right now I'm planning to reveal covers about 2 months in advance, 3 for the second book, and announce the pre-orders at the same time. Like you said, the cover helps pre-orders. Yep. I think try it, test it. Things are always changing. You could try the 2 months. And if you're like, you know what, I'm going to try 3 months next time, or I'm going to try 1 month next time. I think just test it and see what works for your pre-orders the best. We like to do it a little earlier because we want people to see that cover to pre-order earlier. And we have all of our pre-orders set up a year in advance. So it's kind of like, first 3 months, there may not be a cover. On 9 months before it releases, it might have a cover on it. And we notice our pre-orders definitely increase every time the cover is there versus not. So there is a benefit to it. I know that there's always that worry about people are going to forget or they're going to get so used to it that they're just not going to buy it. I don't believe that because people don't see everything that we post on social media. You have to see it so many times, That'll require some shifting, but you made some good points. Yeah, I mean, Tuesdays, you know, jump in like other groups where people are releasing on Tuesdays, getting in those posts where, authors are sharing all the new releases that come out on Tuesday, um, can be very beneficial. And you never know who's going to release on Tuesday. We had set up our pre-order like a year in advance, and then who was it? It was some huge author that was like, "Oh, by the way, here's a surprise release and it's coming on Tuesday." And so our release, although it had been there for a while, was kind of like lost because this big author just randomly decided to release a book on the same day. So you never know, you can't control it. You just have to set your dates and move forward with it and continue to talk about it. Hey Cheryl. Um, so Robin, I've thought about doing a Patreon. I've been asked a lot about Patreon, and I think, like, I'm not gonna say no. I think that it could be beneficial if I could make time for it. It's not something that would happen in 2021, but I've considered creating one for 2022, mainly because I love stickers and I love shipping people stickers. And I'm like, oh, but man, I can have a Patreon where we have just like a private live stream like this, where people can ask me questions. I'll give you all like 4 hours of my time. We'll get it all in. And, you know, make some checklists. Like there's a lot of things that I could make and distribute to people. Um, and behind a paywall makes it where I have to do it. If it's just me going, "Oh, I'm going to make this for y'all." I may make it, I may not make it. I don't know. If I have time, I'll do it. If not, then, at the point where it's like, "Hey, join my Patreon." It's like, I am now committed to you. And I want to make sure that if I do make a Patreon in the future, I can keep up with the commitment. Okay. Sorry, my thing just jumped again. We're going through it. I'm almost caught up. This question was at 409. So almost. I made the money back from one book. A chronic illness got in the way of publishing the second and third in my trilogy, so the first book hasn't sold much. Hey, you know what? I am sorry that you deal with chronic illness. My mother does as well, so I understand how that is. So here's the thing. It's not a lost hope. I would say this is my recommendation. Okay, so you haven't gotten the second book or third book published yet. So what I would do is I would take your time writing those because you've had a space between the first and second book. And I would take your time and finish them, write them, and then before you release book 2, have a rebranding cover or rebranding for your series and recover book 1, because 1, it brings new life to it, and 2, new people will see it. If you're like, "Oh, new cover reveal, look at this brand new cover that I got for this book, I love writing this book so much, oh my goodness." And guess what? Book 2 and 3 are coming, and here are the pre-order links. When you do that cover reveal for book 1, have the pre-order links for book 2 and 3 there. At that point, you should already have book 2 and 3 written. You could even do a cover reveal for the entire trilogy for books 1, 2, and 3. But rebranding is great for when things like this happens because it puts new life into your work. It also gives you something to talk about. It gets people excited. You can even do a 99-cent sell on that first book. If you have pre-order set up for book 2 and 3 and your back matter updated, then guess what? Your trilogy will now have all of the foundation work done, so then you can get new readers on that first book to finish your complete series. So not all is lost. Just spend your time focusing on writing book 2 and 3, and then rebrand, recover, re-reveal, and then release those 3 books. Terrelyn says, "I sold my first 500 copies for my world book this year." Woohoo! That's amazing. Terrelyn, join us. AuthorTube is great. Courtney is right there. There will be hate. Yeah, there will be haters. You know what? I don't care about the haters because I know that there are people that don't care if I say the word whenever. That's one of the things that this one person just hates about me. I am from the South. I live in Texas. I have lived here all of my life except for 1 year where I lived in Louisiana for 1 year of my life when I was in 6th grade, but I've always lived in the South. And so we tend to say whenever in place of when. And I'm sorry that it's wrong. I can't help it. I do not have an editor for the way that I talk on my videos. So it might be wrong. I might say is when I should say are, you know, and people tear me up about that. They really do. Um, I've been told that I'm obnoxious and loud and annoying. And okay, I'm not for everybody. I'm okay with it. I don't need any more friends. I've got my subscribers who love me, and I've got friends who love me, and I'm doing what I love, so life is great. Haters can't knock me down. That's life. Yep. I was really excited when you said in one of the marketing videos that you wanted to make $150 and set up some Facebook ads for your friend and share some steps. Yes. So Paula, my friend who I was going to do this for has had some life issues, I guess you could say. I'm not going to spill her business, but she has a lot going on. And so she is in the process. There's some things that I've told her that she has to do before I even help her with this. And number one is she has to rewrite her blurbs. They are outdated, they need refreshed, and we need to get her covers redone. They are also outdated. And so I've told her that as soon as she rewrites those blurbs and gets her covers redone, which I told her that I would completely oversee the process for her. I will, work, because she's not good at cover design. I was like, I'll work with cover designers, for you. And I would put a cover on it that I would put on it. And she's okay with it. But I cannot run ads on a book that does not have the proper packaging, because it won't work. You'll spend money. People will go to the book and they will not download it because you are offering someone something that's not up to date. And with the blurb and the covers, although she has gotten them recovered, they're not great. And that sounds horrible. I just listened to myself for a second. Just know, my friends, when they ask me questions, I'm very honest. I'm like, your blurbs need to be rewritten and your covers suck. They need to be redone. And this is the reason why. I'm not just saying that your covers are terrible. I will say why they are terrible and what I would do differently. And so she understands that she needs changes. But she broke her wrist. Her mother has neurological issues who just moved in with her, and so she has a lot of stuff going on in her life. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And so as soon as she gets that stuff done, which she has promised me, like she reports to me, she's not promised me, she said she's going to try to get it done by the end of the year because she wants to make some money on her books. They're a great series. The reviews are excellent. It's just getting people to buy them is the problem. And they are a little older. I think they were released in 2016, 17, and 18, but it's her best-selling series. So yeah, once my friend does that, then I am totally going to make those videos, but I need a good base before I can go there. And next step is I'll consider it. Videos are harder for me. Yeah, Terrellyn. After you do YouTube for a little while, it just feels like you're on here talking to your friends. I mean, at first it's uncomfortable and then you get better at it. If you go watch the beginning, my first videos, they're terrible. And what's even more terrible is I had a channel before that one. And so I can only imagine what those videos look like. Terrible. I don't watch my old videos. I should do what is it called? Where you watch your videos, a response? No. I just lost my words. Anyway, we'll move on. Good job. Awesome. Why did I click on that? I think that's my biggest change too. I didn't mean to become a full-time author, but life worked out that way. And I like that I don't have to stop if I'm in the groove. Yep. For me, a time commitment is better. No word count, no chapter goal, just focus on the story and quality. Absolutely. For sure. Uh, okay. Word counts give me anxiety. I learned that about myself too. If I tell myself I have to write 5,000 words, 100% of the time, I do not do it. So I cannot tell myself that because I literally set myself up for failure to not do it. Who created the avatar character on your YouTube channel? It's so cool and looks exactly like you. So there is a girl named Jody. Is that her name? I think her name is Jody, and she does hand drawings of people. She did that one, and then I have another one of me and Brooke. And then I think there is another one that she has done for me where my hair is short and I have a laptop sitting in front of me. But she's in the author world. I can probably find her Instagram. Hold on. Tell you. So then you can go hit her up. She did have a long list of people that she was doing. Okay, so it's make me dot graphics. There you go. Oh look, Tara Lynn's following her. And she makes these characters like that. And she's the one who did mine. So she was really good and I love it. It's cute. It's like I need my cat in there. Hey JL, I wanted to tell you how much I admire you and your success. I hope you achieve all. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. My heart. I hope I never stop writing. I don't ever want to stop writing. My accountant was talking to me about retirement Thursday when I talked to him, or last week. But he was like, yeah, so if we can get you to invest X amount of dollars, X amount of years, then you can retire by the time you're 50. And I was like, Nick, I don't want to retire when I'm 50. And he's like, no, you don't have to retire when you're 50, but if you want to retire when you're 50, you will be set up financially where you could. So I don't know. I love writing. I can't imagine doing anything else. I think that's what stresses me out about Nano, getting those one. Yes. Nano with the word count, like like I said, I've failed every time except for one time, and I've never been able to do it again. And I know that I can write 50,000 words in a month. I've done really close to that, but I don't know. It's something about that goal. That's why I always felt it. Before you do Patreon, look into doing Ko-Fi. They don't take any fees and they have tiers now just like Patreon. So it's essentially the same thing, except you don't have to share with Patreon. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. I've got a note in here to look up things that y'all are telling me about. Wrong phone, I think. Hold on. I got a new phone. I don't know how to use it. Ko-Fi. I'm writing this down. Okay. Perfect. I will look into it. Oh, awesome. Well, see, you're already on the right page. You've got this. It is a total mental block for me. Yep. Word counts are crazy. It's the most support here in the AuthorTube community. Yeah. Thank you for the advice. You're welcome. Texas born and raised. So when I moved to Louisiana for a year, my nickname was Country because I was from Texas. The more you know about me, guys. I'm like, oh, cool, Courtney, Country, yeah. Cool. JC is an awesome cheerleader. She is amazing. I love her. Oh, look at all these amazing humans in my chat right now. I'm so excited. We totally look alike, and sometimes it even confuses me. Like, y'all, Tegan is like my sister from another mister for real. Aw. Yeah, y'all should totally sub to each other if y'all have YouTube channels. Yeah. I'll be your guinea pig for the marketing stuff. LOL joke, but you're not joking. That's the thing. I'm telling you, I was running Facebook ads for one of my friends just to help her out and see if I could find a good copy. Because, sometimes I just want to make sure that I'm not getting rusty with things that happen in self-publishing. And Brooke is really great at ads. Like, she's the ad queen for real. She's really good at it. So I don't want to mess up our Facebook ads on our books because they do really great. So she handles our ads. But I used to be really good at ads. And so I told my friend, hey, I want to start practicing Facebook ads, but I unpublished all of my backlist. So I don't really have anything to pimp. It would be hard to do ads on Kennedy Fox books because our books are always in something, like there's always some sort of marketing going on. So for me to practice with ads on our books, it would be hard to pinpoint if it actually worked for me. And so I was telling one of my good friends about it, and I was like, hey, I really want to make sure that I still got it because it's been a few years. And she was like, hey, you can run ads on my books, and I'll PayPal you the money that you spend on it. I'll give you access to my dashboard if you want to look to see if they're actually working, because she's doing zero stuff for her books right now. And so I did run ads for her for a little while, although we did talk about the covers and the blurbs and stuff. And she did make money. Like I think she tripled her money. I think we spent $150 in a month. And I think it was over $500. So the ads worked. It's just they would be more successful if she had the right packaging. So how can you tell when a cover is outdated? So what I would do is I would go on Amazon and I would look in the subcategory section and look at the top, like the full page of the books that are currently ranking for that category. And I would put your cover into like a thumbnail with the other ones and look at it as a whole. And if your cover sticks out like a sore thumb with those covers that are currently selling in your subcategory, then you know that you need a cover change. A lot of them, when you need a cover update, it's very, very obvious. Like your text is outdated, the colors are all wrong. Like it just stands out like, wow, that does not belong there next to those best-selling books. And so that's one of the number one things that I would say to do is thumbnail test. If you're not good in Photoshop, if you have Canva or PicMonkey, just stick all the covers next to each other about this big and look at them. And if your cover just doesn't look like it belongs with that group, then you probably need to change your cover. Jody Marie, yeah, make me graphics. She's great. Could you do a video on your editing process or talk about it a little bit now? Have I done a video on this? I'm trying to think. I know I've talked about it. I don't remember what I've recorded. That's the problem. So our editing process, I'll tell you real quick. It's not anything super crazy. But essentially, Brooke and I, we write different chapters in the book. And when it's complete, I start at the very beginning of the book. And I am one of those people who, I think this needs to be said beforehand. I'm one of those people who, when I'm writing, I do not self-edit as I am writing. I will fix small typos, grammatical issues, but I am not trying to construct the most perfect, elegant sentence ever. That doesn't happen when I'm writing. My goal when I'm writing is to get the book down because I go really hard in edits. And so with edits, I start at the very, very beginning and I read through it with a critical mindset. Like if this was someone else's book and it was my responsibility to make it the best book it could possibly be, how would I rewrite this sentence? And so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at repeated words. One of my repeat words for this book, every book it's different. Every book I have one word that I say way too much. I write it way too much. And so this last book that I just finished editing, my word was no, Know. I know. It was I know he this, I know she that, like you don't know. So for me, I'm looking for things like that. It takes me about 30 minutes per page to edit. And our books are typically around 60 to 80,000 words. And I'm talking about a Word document page, not like a book page. So it takes me about 30 minutes per page to go through it. I can tell you that um, I usually, when I'm editing, cannot get through a chapter like very quickly. Chapters are typically between 8 to 10 pages in a Word doc. And so if you add that up, 10 pages is going to take me 5 hours. And I know that, and I've timed it several times. I used to let my laptop read the book to me, and I did that for years. I'm talking like probably 30 books. 30 books. I let my laptop read it to me just because you take it in a different way when you're listening to it versus when you're actually reading it. But I felt like the computer was going too slow. And so I haven't had time to just be like, okay, you're going to read this to me very slowly. So I've essentially just started reading it again instead of letting my laptop speak to me. But yeah, it's still about 30 minutes for every page. Or chapters between 25 and 3,500 words. It's about 10 pages. So yeah, it takes me a long time. I can write very quickly. Editing takes me a long, long time. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee real quick. Terrellyn says, I need to get Jody Marie to make me one. It's just far down the long list of things I need to do and expenses. Yeah, for sure. And I think she has a wait list. I think we had to wait a month. It was not instant. We had to get on her wait list and stuff. So, oh, my thing just jumped. Hold on one real quick. Walter says, congrats on 7K subs. Though I do miss the publishable videos you did with Meglator. Yeah, I miss publishable too. I hope that one day we'll get back to it. So publishable was a lot of fun, and I love Meg. She's just one of those very genuinely kind human beings that don't exist everywhere. She's just always been super sweet to me. And, when I was going through everything, Meg would reach out to me personally. Like, I got her cell phone number. We text each other occasionally, and she's just a very, very kind, sweet, genuine human being. And I'm so lucky to be able to call her my friend. I'm not even a romance target reader, but just letting you see this. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Plotting advice, tools you guys utilize. So when it comes to plotting, I'm so terrible at plotting advice. I would say it's easier because I have a writing partner. And it's literally us going back and forth, asking each other questions. So in romance, you deal with a lot of tropes. We talk about, what the trope is going to be of the book that we're going to write. Before we write it, we know what category it's going to fit in. We know how it's going to be marketed based on that. And so for a romance author, knowing the trope is great. I guess for fantasy and thriller, contemporary fiction, I guess you would kind of have the same type of thing, but I feel like romance is very involved with tropes. And so we know that. And based on our trope means that our main characters will be a certain way. If it's enemies to lovers, you know the hero and the heroine are going to hate each other, right? Because they're enemies and then they will become lovers. Or if it's friends to lovers, you know the hero and the heroine are friends. If it's a book based on roommates, they live together. They probably get along because they're roommates. They may not. They may actually hate each other in a terrible situation where they have to live with each other, you know? So right there is basically where our foundation comes from our plotting. And we know from that point, like, okay, so if we're this trope, then that means these characters need to have this sort of relationship. Let's talk about where they live. You know, that's going to be dependent on how your characters act. People who live in the South are going to be different than people who live on the East or West Coast. And so having some sort of character development can help you understand how your characters will act when you're plotting. So then it helps you get your key points to get your book outlined. I would definitely recommend Save the Cat. I know a lot of Save the Cat writes a novel by Jody Broody. What is her name? What is her name? I don't even know where that book is. Anyway, she wrote a fantastic book, and it basically breaks down Blake Snyder's Save the Cat, which is what screenplay writers use. It tells you what the main elements of all successful movies, books, they all fit into a formula, essentially. All successful books, stories, whatever, fit into formulas. And I think there's how many universal formulas? Is it 11 and 9? It's some odd number. And so Save the Cat is very, very helpful if you're not used to outlining. And Jody, actually, I think her name is Jody, she is doing a masterclass right now. And I think you can still sign up. It was like $99, and she went through the book for 3 different days. Today was the second day. I signed up for it. I haven't watched it yet. I'm just always trying to absorb information, and I love like craft, and she's actually teaching the class and she wrote the book. So anyway, that is very helpful. I think naturally with Brooke and I, because we've been writing for so long, we know that at this point we need to be at the climax. At this point, we need to have the, the build up to the end if we're going to do a cliffhanger. Like, we can't drag certain things on too long or people will get bored. And so we do Save the Cat with the beats naturally, without having to follow anything. And I think that just comes from practice. But essentially, we just go back and forth. If you have a friend who's very like into like stories and storytelling, like just set up a coffee date, like, hey, I have this story idea and I was thinking that this was going to happen. Like, I could just come up with something right now. We could literally right now, me and you, Jess, plot out a book on YouTube, because that's literally what we do. We're like, hey, let's write a story about a guy who gets a job at this feed store. I don't even know why that came to mind. And so anyway, he gets a job at this feed store, and the crazy thing is that he loves working there, but he didn't know that the owners have this daughter who's away at college. And then what could happen, right? So then the daughter graduates from college, and she's like absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, and he's just this country boy, and she comes home to help take over the family feed store, right? Because she got a business degree, and that's just what she does. So now we've got this plot, right? Guy gets a job, girl comes home from college to take over the family business, and they hate each other. They despise each other. It's just like this horrible situation, and he hates his new boss, but it's the daughter's owner, and it's now her feed store, so he needs a job, so he has to deal with it. And just do that. That's all you gotta do. I literally make up stories off the top of my head like that all the time. I'll be walking in Walmart with like a buggy, and I'm like, I'll overhear a conversation of this couple fighting on the chip aisle, right? well, I don't like these tortilla chips because of the salsa. And you know what my mother said about that kind of salsa. Well, what did his mother say? Like, I want to know. Like, I'm just, one of those people who just I can make up stories about anything. And I've been like that since I was a kid. So that's how we plot. We just say, hey, what if this happens? And then this happens, and we build upon that. And then, Brooke will say something. I'm like, that's an amazing idea. And let's do this there. And she's like, yeah, and then we can do that. And we just go back and forth until we have our outline for each chapter. Yes, because my birthstone is a what? A coffee bean. I should do that. I should do it. But here's the thing, Jess. What if I like make this fake plot and it just ends up being like this amazing story that I feel like I have to write? Because that could literally happen. Can you touch on how to plot a character arc? Oh man, I never give writing advice. Like, I always feel like there are so many other people out there on YouTube who are so much better at craft than I am. But with character arcs, I think the main thing, I mean, for me and for writing is knowing about their background and why they are the way that they are. So, for example, um, if you had this guy essentially, and he lost his wife. This is all hypothetical. I'm just making this up on the spot. Uh, so if you had this guy who recently lost his wife, and it was like the love of his life, and so he just feels like he's never going to move on ever again, and he finds out after she passes away that she was cheating on him. Like, dun dun dun, this is the love of his life. And then he finds out after her death that she was a cheater and she has a whole other secret family, right? How would that character feel? Like, what would that do to him? How would that make him feel about women, about relationships in general, about people? Like, how would he trust others? And so for me, I like to break down like their background and then give them something that makes them the way they are, makes them tick, makes them think specific ways about any situation that they're thrown into. And then, you know, in romance, the goal is to always give someone their happily ever after. So, you know, you have this guy, he's found out that he was ultimately betrayed by the love of his life, and he doesn't have closure because now she's gone. Like, what could give him closure? What could make him happy? And you try to make it to that point, but you don't automatically give it to the character. There has to be struggles along the way until he can get his happily ever after. And so when it comes to plotting character arcs, I don't have like a list of things or like some mind-blowing um tips that I can give you. It's just essentially understanding your character and knowing why they are the way that they are. And it works really well in romance. And I feel as if it would work really well, really in any type of book, because it's character driven. Um, and if I think about our Kennedy Fox books, I can think about, different books that we've written, and I can tell you the reasons why characters are the way that they are because we've figured out like their past and why they think certain ways and what happened to them, or what different situations were they put in that makes them not trust people, that makes them you know put up walls, who makes them want to be the center of attention. I mean, there's opposites to everything, so hopefully that helps. I've seen a few videos out there with authors streaming the entire process. One title done it this way. Cancel Sean Boston. Oh, that's cool. I need to go look that up. I thought about actually vlogging the next book that I'm writing, because we're going to start plotting tomorrow, and then I'm going to have to write my half in like 10 days, and then I'm going to have to edit it in 14 days, the whole book, and then we're going to release. And so I thought about vlogging that, because it would be a fun video, I think, to go from the beginning to end of a book being published. How far am I behind? Oh my goodness. How many books does Kennedy Fox have out now? 33. On Tuesday, it'll be 34. Will the agent that handles Kennedy Fox handle your traditionally published books? So I don't know. I think that I would. She's a very good agent. Let me just say that. She's like one of the top rated ones on Publishers Marketplace for paperback sales and stuff like that. She's a great agent. I just know that some of my friends have agents who are very great at getting deals with specific publishers. And so I would want to, have a Penguin book or a Macmillan book, or, even be published with Montlake or whatever. That's Amazon's romance division of their publishing company. And so, I don't know. I don't think that I would query to her, but I don't know. I'm not there yet. So maybe I would consider it. But she's very hard to have representation for. I queried her as Laura Parrish, and she never responded back to me. So I don't know if she would even take me, honestly. So I think it would just depend on the type of book. That'll be dependent on the type of agent that I go for, because our agent typically does romance. Like that's her thing. Romance is it. And I might want to write a thriller. I've thought about contemporary fiction. I've thought about a nonfiction book talking about my experience with my dad and his health. I've thought about a bunch of different things. So I think it depends on what I write to who I pitch to, because I don't think that she's going to take a thriller book. I don't think that she represents authors who write that. Renee, I don't think that the rest of your question came through. Oh, thanks, Gail. I appreciate it. Thank you. Britt, I have used dictation recently, yes. But it's not my main way to write yet. I would love to be able to do that, because I can talk much faster than I can type. And I found that it wasn't so bad editing. Like, for example, when I'm writing and not stopping and making sentences perfect. I speak differently than how I write. And so I feel like when I'm talking out the story, it's a little bit more creative in a way. But there are a lot of errors. But I feel like when I'm editing that, it's more creative in a way where I'm not having to like make things a little better. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just different when you're dictating compared to writing. My voice is more active. That's a good way to explain it when I'm dictating. So I feel like I don't have to fix a lot of passive writing when I'm editing, because it's dictated. But yeah, Otter, guys. Otter is great. Kennedy Fox foreign rights. Sorry, should have clarified. It's okay. She does, like, if we wanted to do traditional publishing, she would represent us for that. We have mentioned it to her in the past. So I knew what you meant. I gotcha. What's your outlining process? So we essentially just call each other on the phone. We have our trope set in stone that we're going to write about, and we go back and forth and talk about different things that can happen in different chapters. Once we're about 40% through, we will go to the climax of the book typically and plot from there. and then make our way back to where we were and then finish. But it's literally a phone call, and me and Brooke talk for, it usually takes us about 16 to 20 hours to plot out an entire book. So how do you advise to try spending 150 for Facebook ads without no experience? I don't do much marketing now because I don't want to waste money. Plus, I don't have a backlist. So Terrellyn, do you have series? Do you have a series? I need it. Let me go look. Let me go to Amazon and check this out. I've seen your books, but I don't know how they're packaged together. Like, are they in a series, or are they a bunch of standalones, interconnected standalones? Let me see. You have a 14 book series? Are you serious? Wait, no, that's a part of, okay, I see what's going on. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. Are these, hold on. Oh wait, those are 2 paperbacks. Those must be the 2 books that you're rewriting. So you've got 3 ebooks. You've got one that is that PNR? And then you've got this Southern Boy, and then you've got Double Take, which is the book that you did. Okay, so what I would do is I would make sure, wait, let me go back to my StreamYard so I can look at the comments. I would make sure that your back matter is linking to another book that you have, because they look like they're standalones, right? So when people get finished reading that first book that they find through the Facebook ad, then you've directly brought them to the next one, because that is like the best real estate that you can have, is your back matter. That is your advertising. So use it to your advantage. Don't just put it at the end and your author bio back there. I haven't looked in the back of your books. So I don't know what's back there, but I hope you have back matter that leads people to something else of yours. And so that's okay if you don't have a big backlist, as long as you have something else someone can buy. I feel like marketing with just one book is kind of like a waste. You should spend your money on money. You should spend your time on making more books, creating more books, writing more books, putting them out there. Spend your money on covers for those new books and not marketing the ones that you already have. Because without a backlist, people may love your work, but then they have nowhere else to go. So it's more important to build your backlist when you're newer. With that being said, you have books and you have more than one book. So you do have something else for people to buy. And I would start with some very small Facebook ads, $5 per day. How much is that? 30 days. That's $150, right? It's $5 a day by 30. On it here, $150. So $5 a day is going to let you see if your ad copy is working. It will let you see how many clicks that you're getting. And then you will know directly from your Facebook ads, if you don't have any other advertisement going, that those downloads came directly from your Facebook ads, right? And so I think it's worth testing. So when it comes to Facebook ads, what you need to focus on is not necessarily other authors in your genre, but just authors who have books that are like yours. Like, for example, I don't think you're writing erotica, right? Like, I don't think that your books look like they're contemporary to me based on the covers. So E.L. James, everybody knows her. She is an erotica author. Like, we know she's not writing contemporary, but she has a large reach on Facebook. And typically people who are reading erotica read contemporary romance too. Like, they're interchangeable. And so I would go through and look at all those authors. Colleen Hoover, you can target her readers on Facebook. She writes contemporary, but typically her books are kind of dark. They're very deep. They deal with heavy subjects. And even if yours don't, her readers would probably read your books. You know, it's in the same bucket. And so you have to look at, when you're targeting authors who are similar to you, but you don't have to write the same exact thing, you know? And I tell people to just try a bunch of different targets. There are authors who will just try one at a time. I'm like, you know what? No, try 10. Try 10 and see if you get some clicks. Um, but you have to have a lot of, like, the reason why I say not to do individual targets for each one is because typically people don't have the money to spend $5 on one target for their book to know if that's a good target or not. So when I was doing my friends, I would just find all the authors that I possibly could that made sense. I would also target Kindle readers, Apple readers, people who have devices that they read on, you know, um, and then see how it goes. You can do several different images for your one $5 ad. So you can do, you know, 20 images for your $1 or your $5 ad, and you'll know which one is the best image or images. And then after about a week, start turning the ones off that are over 30 cents per click and start turning the ones off that are not getting any clicks, you know, until you've got a very good Facebook ad. And it might be slow going at once. You might have just really bad copy. You know, your ad copy might be terrible, and so people are not clicking. Um, but eventually, after you keep testing, like you could test it for a week and be like, this image was good, but I feel like, you know, I wasn't getting the clicks I wanted. So maybe use that image with different ad copy and try it like that. But yeah, you have books. You can test it if you have the money to do it. I think that you could probably break even running $5 ads. And, you know, you don't have to go the entire month. You could go for a week and test it out. I would not go less than a week when you're testing out a Facebook ad because I feel like you don't have enough time to get in the algorithm to get pushed out to people. But yeah, I mean, commit to 10 days, right? $5 a day, 10 days, $50. Make several different, um, make one ad, find you like 15 different stock images. Use, you know, you can use different copy in some of them. You could do 5 images or 3 of the same image with 3 different ad copies, and then do the same for the next 3 images. And eventually you will be able to pinpoint which one's working the best for you. And that's the one that you run, like for your main ad. But testing takes a little while, but I wouldn't do it less than 7 days. Hopefully that makes sense. It's hard to show you to talk about it without actually showing you. Yes, JC. Thanks, Terrelyn. I'm not the best at editing. I really hate talking about craft. Like, I don't make videos on how to write a book, how to edit a book, how to plot a book. I don't make videos on that because, you know, I feel like there's people who explain it way better than I can. I'm curious to see what hopefully did that help? I mean, about the Facebook ad stuff. Please tell me if it did or didn't. Um, I think that if you can target a kind of large group of people who are similar to you, you can create one $5 ad and have tons of different ad copies and tons of different images. And they may not all get clicks, you know, but there will be some that will. And I know that I created my friend an ad and it got down to like 7 cents per click, and she was making great money. And like 7 cents for a Facebook ad click in 2021 is nearly impossible. So I feel like I have some experience. I've taken a lot of Facebook ad courses, but I can't say that I've taken everyone's advice because it's all different. It depends on you and your brand, and you know, there's no holy grail for any of it. It's all about testing. Good day, mate. Rhiannon, thank you so much. Trope you've not written yet that you're excited to try. Hmm. I would like to write an age gap, but like not like 5 years. That's no, like 15 years. But it would have to be like not like a 35-year-old hooking up with like a 20-year-old. That's just unrealistic. I'm talking about like a 35-year-old hooking up with like a billionaire, like 50-year-old. But reverse it where it's like the woman is like the older one, so it's like a cougar, right? I think that would be fun to write. I've not written a wide age gap. I think the largest age that we've done was 10 years, but it would be fun to write one that's like uh larger. What trope will you never write? Mm, I don't ever see myself writing in the royalty trope, where like the prince finds his lover, and I don't that doesn't interest me at all. Another one that I could think of, I'd have to go look at the list. There's some that I'm like, I would never, I don't have any urge to write any of that. So, Desiree, no, it's not. It is well, you can see it there. It's an iced quad espresso with 4 pumps of vanilla, 2 pumps of brown sugar, vanilla sweet cold foam with a splash of cream in a venti cup iced. I'm bougie. I'm about to go back to no sugar because y'all know I did that for a month and that was great. It was a nice little detox. But I went on vacation. And when I came back, I was still drinking Starbucks. So, Jessica Brody, yes, thank you. That's who wrote Save the Cat Writes a Novel. Um, Cowboy Love Story. Plotting out a book, executing it. So I have thought about um, doing that with the traditionally published book that I want to write as soon as I figure out what I want to write, because I have like 4 different ideas at this point. Um, but I know marketing would be a lot different with Tried Pub than it is with Self Pub. So, but yeah, I've thought about it a lot. I love stealing ideas from stores. I'm telling you, like in Texas, people are loud AF and they just talk about everything. In the grocery store, you can literally be looking at milk and find out that so and so divorced this person because she was having an affair with this person's husband and blah blah blah. And like you just things you hear in Walmart and Target. Right? 2024. Yeah. Mark Dawson's Facebook course is great. It's expensive. He does take a payment plan though. When I first started, I got his course back in 2014 and I paid on it for like a year because I couldn't really super afford it in the beginning. Because y'all know I made those fatal mistakes after I released my first 2 books and then my sales tanked because I released a book that wasn't the third in my series. And so yeah, um, your girl was broke for a little while, and but I paid for his course and it's very good, and he's kept it updated since 2014 when I bought it. So a Kennedy Fox documentary. That's hilarious. I think I get in the lost. Maybe don't know my characters as much as I should. I know the beginning and how I want to end the story, but the road to take them there is foggy. Yeah, so they have online like so many character sheets. Like if you're into that, I am not really into filling out character sheets. I don't care about their favorite color. Like I don't I've found that most of the character sheets that I have downloaded have been like I don't even know. Like, they're not that great. They're just kind of like favorite color, cats or dogs? Does she like this? What's her favorite hobbies? Like, I want to delve deeper. Like, what was their childhood like? Right? Because if you had a not so great childhood, that may affect how you act as an adult. How is their relationship with their mother? How was their relationship with their father? Did they have any siblings? How was their relationship with them? How's their relationship now? And, what did they do in high school? Like, were they like the cheerleader, Miss Popularity? And now as an adult, she's like an introvert and doesn't get out or have any friends. Like, what happened between high school and now that made her like that? You know? Um, I don't know. I guess I like the psychology of people. And so, like, when I meet new people, I'm always like, I want to know your story. Like, I have a friend, I should probably not say this online, but she didn't have a great marriage and she never talked about it. And she ended up getting a divorce. And I'm giving way too many details about this girl. But anyway, there's a story that I have always wanted to hear from her, and she will not talk about it. And I'm like, but why? And so my brain goes into these little places, and I'm like, what makes people act the way that they act? Like, that's the stuff that interests me. But anyway, I think that if you know your characters and you really know them, when you are plotting, you'd be like, that's my character would never do that. He that is not something that he would ever say. That's not something that he would ever do, because this is how he is, and that's his outward personality to people. Although he may be broken inside, he would never do that thing. He would never help that old lady cross the road when it's raining, because I don't know. I could just go on and on. Character development is like one of my favorite parts. And I think it's equivalent to world building in fantasy. Character development in romance is like world building in fantasy. It's literally what makes your story go. I understand, Carolyn. You might not be making enough ads inside. So when I was explaining ads to my friend, I was talking about it like a house, because that's how it made sense to me. So in Facebook, you have like 4 sections. And so you've got your house, which is like your main ad. And then inside of it, you've got I'm trying to remember how to explain this to her, but it made so much sense. I'm going to have to go look. Anyway, inside of your ad, you can make a bunch of little ads, and that's like the children. And so you've got your house, and then you've got your parents, and then you've got all the children, and then this creates your ad, and then you don't want to have just one kid, you want to have like 10 kids, and we can talk about it later. Because without me looking at it, I don't know what it looks like at the moment. Yeah. Sorry if you answered this question earlier. I popped in late. When you say you're half, how do you split that? Do you each write one POV or alternating? No, we both write both point of views. We plot, and then I don't care what I write, so I just let Brooke divvy out the chapters. It doesn't matter to me. There's never a set way. I could literally have the first 8 chapters, and then she could have 2, and then I could have 4, and then she has the rest. Or I could have 4, she could have 4, I could have 4, she could have 4. Like, it's been different for every single book. We have written some small town romances that are set in Texas, and anytime they have to do like ranch hand business, like work like that, I typically have those chapters assigned to me, because I live in the South and I grew up riding horses, and so I've got real life experience with those types of things. So it's like, oh well, Courtney can write this without having to do a whole lot of research, so I get those chapters assigned to me. If we have a book that has like one romantic scene, I guess we'll say. It just one. Typically, Brooke will get assigned that because she's very good at writing those scenes and doing a really good job at it. So, no, there's no there. It's random. It's random for each book. There's never like I never know. She's written endings of books. I've written endings of books. She's started off the first few chapters of books. I've done it. And then after time passes, I can't tell you who wrote what because we write so similarly that without having a main key of those chapters, like I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Um, unless it's something that I would literally say in real life that's a part of like my real life personality that I've written into there. That's the only way that I would know if I wrote it. Because our voices and our writing style and everything is so very similar. Some of my best-selling and most liked books are ones which I knew the characters well. Like I knew what made them tick, so I think that's why they came across so real and it worked. Absolutely. And you build upon it. Like you can know that character when you first start writing. But then I feel like when you're halfway through the book, you're like, oh wow, I really, really knew this character. And so when you go back and reread when you're doing like self edits, it's like, okay, yeah, I knew this character better towards the end of the book, so this doesn't make sense at the beginning for him to act this way or her to act this way. So yeah, having a solid foundation for your characters is so helpful, but as you're writing, you're continuously building upon that. So it's character development. I love character development. I'm not even kidding. Have you as Lyra Parrish and KF wrote a book about a topic, theme, or trope that readers dislike so much that influenced your reviews? If so, how do you deal with that? It was secret identity trope. No. I mean, I don't think we have. I don't read reviews, so you're asking the wrong person, I guess. I don't read reviews. I don't read them. It was one of my things when I first started writing that just put me in a bad headspace. So I don't read them. The only time I see them is when Brooke screenshots them and sends them to me. So I try not. I don't know. If people hate our books, I don't know about it. So I guess the more you don't know, the better. I don't know. I think you have to write what you want to write, and sometimes those books will sell and sometimes they won't. And if people don't like them, then write your own book. That's on them, you know. Um, this is a hobby, but it's also a business. So you have to write things that sometimes you know is going to sell. Luckily, I write in a genre that I really like. It doesn't ever feel like it's work unless I'm editing. So I call it editing hell. But there hasn't been anything that I know of because I don't read reviews. So I recently unpublished my series. I plan to republish it next year. The two books are standalone. One's in another author's world and one's a multi-author series. I just updated my back matter for SB. Gotcha. I tried dictation, but what I say always came out wrong. I need to try it again, but I just don't like talking. And that's okay. There are people who have learned how to dictate because they've been forced to. There is a woman who was going through chemotherapy and she wanted to write books while she was in chemo and she couldn't use her hands to type in a laptop. And so she learned dictation because of that. And so it's a good skill to have in case you need it, but I don't think that it's for everyone. I know that I've got horrible carpal tunnel. Let's see. I don't think y'all heard them, but my wrists pop all the time. I have very weak wrist. I can't lift things with my wrist. They'll go completely out because I've been typing since I was like 12. So, I always want to have the skills there if I need it. If for some reason I break my arm or, I need to get my surgery on my wrist, I want to still be able to to write, and dictation is a way to do that. But yeah, I don't think it's for everyone. I've had great success from Facebook ads once I figured them out. With a small budget, I turn them off sporadically. Leading up to release, I turn them back on. Yep, there are people who do that. They will run ads pretty heavily for, what is it, 10 days? Or they'll start them a few days before release. So then they get in the algorithm, and then they'll run it for like 10 days afterwards, turn it off, and then start it again when the next book comes up or when they're doing a freebie. When you have freebies, it's much cheaper to do Facebook ads on those. I don't know why, but when you have a free book, it's cheaper. Oh, yay, I'm so happy. I'm so happy it's helping. My books are contemporary romance. I'm rebranding to write more Southern small town romances now. That makes a lot of sense. You're welcome. Hey, you live in the South. You Louisiana, come on. You got that experience to write those small town romances. Like what it all means when you say ad copy and using 20 different images. So let me see. I switched phones, so like all my accounts like want me to verify I am who I am. I haven't been into Ads Manager in forever. Let me go in there and let me tell you what I'm talking about. So it might take me a second. I'm going into my Ads Manager. I'm going to explain this. Okay, so you've got your campaigns, your ad sets, and your ads. And so when I explain ads to people, I think about your campaigns is the house that your family lives in. Your ad set is the parents, right? That's your main thing. And then your ads are the children. And so in your ad set, you can create one ad set. Wait, you can have, let me see. I haven't made a Facebook ad in a hot minute, so I'm not going to share my screen. So I'd be like, I can't do this. Okay, so your campaign is your house. So let's say Terralyn, book number 1. And you create one ad set, right? So you've got for whatever book that you're trying to do. And then in your campaign, you can have like 15 different images in that campaign. And the overall is $5 per day for your house, right? So you got your house, your parent, your campaign. I mean, your campaigns, your ad sets, and then your ads. And so your campaign is what, $5 a day. You can have your ad sets. And instead of your ad sets, you can have all of those campaigns, which is essentially the different images. So you can have 15 different campaigns underneath that one ad set and still only spend $5 per day. So then you can figure out which images are the ones people are clicking on. You can figure out which ad copy is actually doing better. And then you can kind of like narrow it down to the best one that you have. And then you can stop your testing and then just do an ad for $5 per day with the same targeted group that you had on the testing one, and then run that and see how it does. So hopefully that helps. Maybe tell me if I explained that stupidly. I could have. Jennifer, I'm telling you, wouldn't that be good? But like he needs to, like the woman needs to like be into some like crime stuff. You know what I mean? Like she's like a mob boss. Like I always want to write like badass women, like always. Back in 2014, 2015, I was writing all this romance, but it was the woman who was the CEO, you know. In my stories, the princess saves herself. So just saying. Every time I attempt a romance, it becomes a thriller. I have that problem too. I'm always like, man, but wouldn't it be great if somebody just came in and just kidnapped her, you know? But anyway. What is XRP? I hope I'm not Googling something that's gonna Gemini makes XRP. I don't know what this is. What is this? Is this is this spam? Is this a spam question, Matthew? Are you just going into random people's live streams to talk about financial stuff? Let's talk, bro. Come on. I got those NFTs. I'm just kidding. Hey, Brittany, what's going on? I feel the same way about character sheets. I don't care for that stuff either. Yeah, oh my God. So, guys, when you write books, make sure that you decide what kind of vehicle they're going to drive, what color their hair and eyes are, and how old they are, because these are 4 things that I find myself always looking up. Like, oh crap, what color is his eyes? What? Oh, actually drives a car and not a truck. Whoops. But knowing their favorite color, or whether like could stem from those deeper issues. Someone cannot like dogs because some drama. Hey, that is very true, JC. You make great points. I just don't feel like the character sheets, when they're asking those questions, delve as deep as they need to. There should be what's their favorite color and why. You know, not just what's their favorite color. I need to know why. Why is that their favorite color? Because it reminds them of their mother who passed away when they were like 12 years old. You know, like it's that kind of stuff that makes me go, wow, that character is fully fleshed out. But yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I made my own character sheets based on what matters for what I write. Absolutely. For sure. Just another way to see character sheets. Yes. I think you're delving deeper though. I don't think you're like, oh, his favorite color is blue or green. Seems like you're asking all the right questions, right? Wouldn't a cougar romance, like, I don't know if Brooke would go for it. I kind of want to, but there are readers who are like, I will not read an older woman and younger man. But I'm talking about like, you know, like she's 48 and he's 35. He's a grown up. He's a grown ass man and he's got his stuff together. You know, like, and she's the CEO and she's a boss ass. Oops. I need to stop with all that. Sorry. A boss babe. I'm going to stop with the cursing. I'm sorry. Sometimes when I get on these things, I'll just throw some words out, but cougar romances. I could go on. Okay, Paula, how much would I spend on publishing your first novel today? I would not spend over $1,000 total. People hate it when I say that. Especially if it's like an editor or a cover designer. They're like, but I wanted to charge her $1,500. What are you doing? No, I wouldn't spend over $1,000. I would spend the bulk of the money on edits and covers, but I would not spend over $300 for a cover, point blank period. I don't care who the designer designed covers for. They're not going to sell your book. As far as edits, I feel like that's one of the most expensive things that you will pay for, but don't spend over $1,000 on edits. That's crazy. Somebody told me that they spent $2,000 on edits for like an 80,000 word book. And I was like, why? That's a waste of money. You just got screwed over. And editors that charge that price, they do it because they have a large client list who love them, who are willing to pay it. But an editor will not sell your book. It doesn't care. I mean, readers don't care who edited your book. Most of them don't even notice that you have an editor in the front. But I would say $1,000 is about where I would go. I spent $800 on my first release, and that was with everything. That was with 2 rounds of edits, a proofreader, a cover designer, and I had 2 book tours scheduled because I didn't have a reach. Espresso Books is fantastic, guys. If you write fantasy or romance, like Giselle is fantastic. And she also has the NetGalley co-op that you can get for $75. So don't go spend a gazillion dollars on NetGalley. I know that a lot of trad pub authors love NetGalley. As indies, I've not seen that it does anything great. But some people get really hung up on that. It's not that expensive if you want to try it out. tell everybody to try it. It's different for every genre. But yeah, I think $1,000 is a fair price. It depends on how long your book is. If you're writing some epic tale and it's 150,000 words, please don't publish it. That's too long. But you know, your edits depend on the length of your book. And I think a good 80,000 word book edits would be around $500 to $600, maybe 700. Maybe, I mean, it kind of depends. I would get really good beta readers, and I would not do content edits. I would do line edits. You know, you don't need someone, if you have really good beta readers, then you don't need someone to tell you that your plot and stuff sucks. You just need someone to look at the grammatical issues and look at each line. So I'll say 1,000 to 1,200. Anything over that is way too much money, and you can do it for way cheaper. I could probably publish a book for, if I got a pre-made, $100. Edits would probably cost me $400, so that's $500. Run $150 on Facebook ads during release month, so $650. Maybe do a Goodreads giveaway so then I can get or TBRs on my book, so that's about $100. And yeah, I mean, it just depends. $1,000, literally, I could. It's very possible. If someone's charging you over that much for edits or a cover, like, find somebody else. They're all replaceable. Jess, I know. I was like 2.5 hours. Jesus. It's okay. We'll probably stay on here for another 30 minutes and I'll cut it off. Having a friend to vet reviews sounds like a good idea. Send me the really nice ones or the ones that are helpful and keep from dwelling on the bad ones. So when I released my first book, I thought it was the best book ever written in the world because it was my first book. It has issues. Like, let's be honest. It has issues. It needs to be rewritten. That's why I unpublished it. It's not the best book out there in the world. Let me just say that. But as a newbie, I was like, this book, it's everything. I love it. Like, I nailed it, you know, pumping myself up. And I had this review where this girl who has a lot of followers on Goodreads made fun of me, basically, with gifs, like funny gifs, and basically broke down the book in like a whole page of gifs of why it was stupid and whatever. And it just really affected me. Like, I think that was one of the reasons why I couldn't write the third book, is because of those reviews. And so I said, never again. I'm not reading reviews. I don't care. Like, I care. Let me be clear. I care. If the edits are bad, I care about that. If, you know, there's a major plot point missing and like it's not a complete story, I care about that. But I don't care when people are like, this book sucked, don't ever read from this author. I don't care what you have to say. Like, you didn't even give me a review where I can find out what I personally did wrong to improve my writing. You're just saying whatever. The internet's full of trolls like that. And they may have really thought that, and that's their opinion. They can hate my books all they want. But I don't have to subject myself to reviews that don't give creative criticism where I can improve my writing. Like, so I just don't read them at all. I have a writing partner that's like the best person ever when it comes to marking stuff up or saying something sounds stupid. So I've got that built in already because I co-write. So I don't really need strangers on the internet telling me my book sucks after it's already published. What can I do at that point? Unpublish it? Fix it for you? Like, okay. My literary world doesn't revolve around anyone else. If me and Brooke are happy with it and my editor doesn't have issues, I'm good. I know that I put the best possible work out there and I am happy with that. And if people don't like it, sounds like a personal problem. Ooh. have you guys found the new covers without the sexy couples working in terms of sales and visibility? So I think that they sell better. I think people aren't as scared to pick them up because it doesn't look like an erotica novel, because they're not erotica. Like, we write contemporary romance, but when you have those uber sexy covers where the girl's wearing like a bra laid over the bed. I'm trying to see if I've got this covered. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you real quick. Okay. Oh, this book's thick. So this is a very sexy cover, right? This is a very sexy cover. Like that. Wait, right here. Yeah, it's underwear. These did the good that they could do for the time that they did. People bought them, but they are very, very, very risque, which makes it hard to run Facebook ads. It makes it hard to it makes it hard to market it when it's like that. And some people, not everyone, like some people read this very proudly, and I love you so much if you're one of those readers. But there are other readers who read romance in secret, and they want to go to their kids' soccer practice and read a romance book. And so carrying this on the soccer field where there's a bunch of children around, it's kind of hard to do. But hold on. Bringing this to a soccer game, right? Nobody's going to question this. Nobody's going to ask, hey, what is that you're reading? You're not going to get judged. You're going to just be reading a book that's spicy AF. That's just going to make you like super happy at the end of it when the couple gets their happily ever after. So yeah, I have found, this is a hardcover. That's why it's so much bigger. But I have found that people are more willing to take a chance when you don't have overly risque covers. It's easier to advertise. You know, Amazon will not let you do ads on covers that show skin like this. It's automatically rejected. So it is helpful. And it looks cleaner. So yeah, I think that it's done really well. And I mean, we've sold a lot of the rebranded covers, a lot of them. Okay, so yeah, Terrelyn, the house, the parents, the children, they all live in the house, right? The parents are in charge of the kids. It's like the same thing. And when I figured it out in my brain, I was like, this makes so much sense. Oh my God, like I can do some ads like a mofo because it finally clicked in my brain and I had to use this house analogy. Brittany says, Brooke has literally asked me questions about the books and I yell at her for forgetting certain things. Like what? What? Tell me. I need to know. I need to know what you're talking about. Hey, hit me up, Terrelyn, anytime. This one author who's well known and big time told aspiring new authors how much she spends to publish a book. If I went by that, I'd be paying $15,000 per book. Like that is insanity. I don't know anyone except for authors that are like New York Times bestsellers or KU, like people who are in KU really, really trying to rank top 100. Like I've heard that they've spent $15,000, $20,000 on ads for that, but that's a lot of money. I just don't think that it's necessary. Just because you spend, $15,000 on a book does not mean that you'll ever make that money back, ever. And so you have to go into publishing thinking, can I just throw this money away? Like, what if I don't make my money back? Will that be okay? You can't go into publishing going, okay, I'm gonna publish this $15,000 and I'm automatically going to make it back, because you never know. And I never assume. Like when we publish, I never assume that we're gonna make our money back, because that is complacency. And that's when you get super comfortable with like your brand and your business, and you have the expectation that you're going to make X amount of dollars. And so that I've never had that mindset. I'm always like, we need to not spend $1 billion on making these books happen. And you can ask Brooke. I am the cheapest person ever. And it's because I really budgeted my author life before I started publishing with Brooke. And also I budgeted $1 billion projects with my company before I quit. And so for me, I'm like, if we don't spend a lot of money and we make a lot of money, our profit margin is larger. And this is a business. And this is, also something that's very fun that we love. But at the end of the day, if we can't pay our bills, then we can't continue to publish. And so you have to think about it like a business. And spending $15,000 on a release, especially as like a new author, is insanity. And I will always be against it. Always. There are people who are on AuthorTube who fired their editors because I said in a live stream one time, do not spend $1,500 on an editor. That is a ripoff. There are editors out there who can do just as good of job for far less money, and you can put the rest of that money in marketing. So, no, that's crazy. That's horrible advice. I don't know who said it, but I'm saying that's horrible advice. If you were publishing your first series, 6 to 8 books in the next few months, how would you go about it? Rapid release, timing, ads. Let me think about this for a second. 6 to 8 books in the next few months. Okay. What I would do is I would release a book per month, and I would set up pre-order for it now for all of them. I would do one big cover reveal for the entire series. And I would probably write a prequel. I'd probably write a prequel to release 2 months before my first full-length book released. And I would make it free. And I would push people to that freebie that would lead them to the pre-order of the first book that's going to release in, let's say, January. While that's going on, I would continue to be active on social media. I would use the hashtags Thursday teasers, Tuesday teasers, and I would have a teaser out every single week. I would release snippets, and I would make sure that I had a newsletter set up. And when that prequel releases, I would ask people to join the newsletter for more exclusive things. Or, would you like a free bookmark? Please join my newsletter. Everyone who joins, the first 100 people who join my newsletter, they are going to get a free bookmark, right? I would do whatever I could to build that newsletter before I release the first book. With that prequel, I would get on BookFunnel, and I would join the they have like monthly things where you can build your newsletter list and join. Like, I think they still have that. Back in the day, they had like I remember like in February one time, I signed up for like a BookFunnel for Valentine's Day back in like 2015. The BookFunnel is a huge thing. Like, we use it as Kennedy Fox today. Not to build our newsletter, but to distribute books. But they also have newsletter builders on BookFunnel, and it's like $15 a month. And so I would enroll that prequel into several of those BookFunnel lists, and I would really focus on the newsletter number one. I would focus on learning how to do ads and get people to download that freebie that you have, prequel out. And I would make sure all the pre-orders and all the links were out there right from the get-go. So after people read your prequel, they can pre-order book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever the case is. And I would do it like that. Newsletter would be my number one thing. I would update a website. I would release teasers. I would tell people to join my newsletter. I would make that prequel. When I say prequel, I'm talking like a 15,000 word short story in the same world that your series is in. And I would just go all in with it like that. I think that if you have something out there before you release your first like full length to help you build your newsletter, that when you release, you'll have like thousands of people on there for real. And those people obviously downloaded your book and they want to hear from you because they joined that newsletter, and it would give you a solid foundation to release your full length debut novel. But that's what I would do. Hopefully that answers it. But yeah, once a month I think is good. I think releasing more than once a month can get super overwhelming. If you already have them written, I would give yourself a little bit of time so you can continue to push your backlist as you continue moving forward in the series. And then once you get to book like 7 of the 8 or 5 of the 6, depending on if it's a 6 or 8 book series, I would apply for BookBubs and newsletter builders for the first book and make it free. Although you have your prequel, it's always going to be, that's a perma freebie, but make the first book in your series free. So hopefully people will read through those first 4 books or first 7 books, however long you're going to do it. And then they will pre-order your final book in the series. So yeah, hopefully that's not too overwhelming. Any recommendations for whether, and if so, how much someone should advertise their first book? So when I started advertising for my first book and talking about it, I started 6 months in advance, and it's literally all I talked about. I would talk about coffee and writing and the book that I was working on. I would share the crappiest teasers in the world. I show them on my Facebook often. Terrible. Like the worst teasers. They are so cringe to my kind of Photoshop knowing self now. Like they were cringe. I didn't care. I really pushed my newsletter. I pushed it so hard. I think when I released, I had 300 or 500 people on it, which, you know, it wasn't like a huge amount, but it was someone to speak to and launch to. Anytime I was writing, I would be like, y'all want to keep up with my writing life? Join my newsletter. You know, it was a link that I pushed big time because we didn't have pre-order back in the day. But yeah, I mean, join some like writer groups, not necessarily writer groups, but for me, the big thing was I used Twitter a lot back in the day. It's not really a good social media, I think, to sell books in 2021. I think it's a waste of time. But you can find like a community of people who are in the same spot as you, who are debut authors. There's a lot of groups on Facebook where there are nothing but newbies in there. I always talk about Alexandra Torres' Inkers group. It's a great place to ask questions, to find answers to questions that have already been asked. But I wouldn't spend a lot of money advertising your first book. I would try to find a blog tour if you can, because you probably don't have a lot of connections with bloggers. You can reach out to people individually. I think with your first book, you're going to spend more time than money. And that's what I would suggest with everyone's first book. Learn how to self-publish, learn how to put yourself out there, share your newsletter, share your links, share, you know, what you can, what you have to offer. At that point, for me, all I had to offer was myself. I didn't have any experience publishing. I didn't have any books. You just got me. That was it. And me talking about writing, because that's all I was doing. And so I think if you spend more time on it, and of course have, you know, good editing, the cover, a nice blurb, a good story, you will grow a grassroots following from the beginning. So yeah, JC, right? 15,000. If Kennedy Fox spent $15,000 on a release, I would probably blow a gasket. You know, like it just, we don't even spend that much money and we do really well. So that's just bad advice that some rich author is giving people. Like, yeah, they're probably making $100,000 a month. So, I mean, if you're making six figures every single month, sure, I guess you can spend 15,000, but that's not reality for most people. Some are just out of touch. Oh God, that was just for editing and covers. She's trad pub. She spent $15,000 of her personal money and she's traditionally published. That's crazy. No, that's bad advice. Desiree, I want to do the pumpkin bun. I so do. If y'all don't know what she's talking about, I posted this picture on my Facebook and it was this little girl and she had like a bun up here and there was like a pumpkin, like pipe cleaners around it. And I said, if y'all see my bun like this, y'all need to mind your business, you know, because I'm the fall queen. I haven't done it yet. I don't have any pipe cleaners. No, I would not pay that. Nope. Do you still recommend KU for brand new authors? Deirdre, I'm so triggered right now. So I think KU has its place. I think if you're a new author, you can really learn the ropes with Kindle Unlimited. You can understand the process of uploading and keywords and blurbs, and you can learn how to do Facebook ads just having your book on Amazon. I don't feel like KU is a long-term thing, but there are authors who make way more money than I have ever made in Kindle Unlimited who would argue with me about that. I just don't feel like it's set up for author success. Amazon has said several times that their platform is based on the reader experience, not the author experience. And I don't care to have all of my eggs in one basket. If KU just disappears, then, you know, like, that would be bad. If you have a glitch, that would be really bad. And it happens. It happens all the time. So I think it's good to learn. But once you understand it, I think you should probably try to go wide. There's just way more money to be made. And Google Play is amazing. So if you're not on Google Play and your books are on all platforms, you are just leaving money on the table because you've already done the work for it. You've already got all the stuff to put it on there. Just put your books on there. Oh, Lily, I'm so glad you're here. If you're still here, I see this message was 20 minutes ago. So, aw. Hey, Lily just released a new book, guys. If y'all like those thrillers, I'm like, oh, look at me. There we go. I'm like Lily's #1 fan. For real. She got me with her her motorcycle club stuff. But anyway, y'all go check out her books. She's the bomb. Okay. Where is JC says, see, this is why I need Courtney to have a coaching service. I don't even, what did I say? Tell me. I don't know. I'll leave it up. I'm going to leave it up for everyone because there are some nuggets of info in here that might be helpful. And, you know, I know that people have families and lives and stuff. So I'm just so appreciative that y'all didn't make me do this by myself because I was really, really worried about it. Every time I go live, I'm like, nobody's showing up. I'm going to look like an online loser. So Terrellyn says, BookFun will still have those newsletter builders, and there are others who did them like Authors XP and Romance Devoured. Oh, I've heard of Authors XP, kind of. I need to go look them up. It sounds familiar. I've not actually dealt with them. And Romance Devoured, I've never heard of them before. So that's good info to have. I think that those newsletter builders for new authors, if you can write something that's kind of like what you're trying to release, it can be very helpful for you to find warmed up readers who want your type of books. You know, that's for $15 a month. It's kind of worth it to help build your newsletter with people who would potentially buy your work. Would a Facebook page or Facebook group be better? I think that if you're choosing between the two, you should definitely have a page because that's the only way that you can run Facebook ads, and they're so helpful in 2021. I think a group is good when you've built your following and you want to be active with your readers, or if you want to announce exclusive news, or if you want to do giveaways for those who just love your work. Groups have a purpose, especially for your readers. Like, they love hearing from you. But you 100% need a Facebook page. And I don't care if you're a new author and you have 0 or 1 or 2 likes on it. You can still run Facebook ads. So everyone should have a Facebook page for their author business 100%. Non-negotiable. That's one thing you need to have. Because of how much you publish building your newsletter, I've really focused on that this year, plus switching to a provider that's affordable helped. Oh, and BookBub is really good to have too. Carolyn, did you sign up for Flowdesk? Is that the one you're talking about? If y'all are not aware, I am a huge advocate of building your newsletter because, you know, you want to be able to control your list. Facebook went down. Was it last week? I was camping. I don't know. I asked Brooke, I was like, is Facebook down or what? Because I had no idea. I was in the middle of nowhere. But when Facebook goes down, what if that would have been on a release day? I don't know what day it was, but release day, how are you going to tell people that you released your book if you don't have a newsletter? You know, like, you have to think about things like that. You never know when there's going to be an outage. Facebook went out in like 2019 too. This is nothing new. You can't depend on these providers. They are a company, they make billions of dollars, and they don't care that Kennedy Fox has a release and wants to post on Facebook. They don't care about us. They don't care about anybody but their bottom line. So I think that newsletters are so important, and you can start it before you even have your book written. You don't have to have a book. You can write a newsletter telling people, I'm writing this book. Look at my coffee today. Look at my cute kid. Look at my cute little dog. Like, you know, you can just be yourself in there, and those people will follow you through the coals. They'll follow you through all your releases because you've built personal relationships. So yeah, Flowdesk is a newsletter provider, and right now they are giving half off if you sign up before they get out of their beta program, and it's $20 per month, and you will be grandfathered in forever. On November 2nd, the price goes up to $40, and it's unlimited subscribers and unlimited newsletter sends. So if you were on MailerLite like us, our list cost us close to $200 per month to have. $200 by 12 is $2,400 per year. Newsletters are important, so it's a necessary expense. But if there are other companies who offer the same types of things for a cheaper price, and you test it and you like their format and stuff, it's worth switching. You don't have to spend the money on that. Like, that's something that I've had to like drive into authors. Like, just because you spend $2,400 on something doesn't mean if you spend, you know, $1,000 on something per year that it's not as good. It can be just as good. And Flowdesk, guys, like, if you are paying over $20 per month for your newsletter, like, you should definitely look at Flowdesk. It's FLODESK.com. I have an affiliate link somewhere. Kennedy Fox just signed up for it. So yeah, there's a lot of bigger authors who use them. So Stephanie, I guess I jumped the gun on that one. So we have MailerLite. We've used MailChimp in the past. And it just got too expensive. MailChimp it's a lot of money. Constant Contact is more expensive than MailChimp, so we never tried that one because y'all know I'm cheap. And Miller Lite, I think we pay close to $200. It might be like 178 or something. That number comes to mind. It might be 170. It's really close to $200. Miller Lite had issues in the past where people were using them to spam, so their emails got flagged, so people's deliverability like went down. But I like Miller Lite. It was a good option when they first released, but there are better things coming out. And right now I would have to say Flowdesk is great. Let me see if I can log in to our Flowdesk, and I think I have an affiliate link if y'all want to sign up. Let me see what it says. Give 50% off and get, yeah. So you get 50% off, which they're offering right now. Y'all don't have to use my link, but if y'all do, then I get $19 off my subscription. Look, I'm going to post it right here. Let's see if this works. There you go. There's the link for Flowdesk. And I built a newsletter last night in it for the first time ever. I've used Miller Lite forever. I mean, my Lyra Parish list is hosted on Miller Lite. And it is really nice. It's very clean. It's a drag and drop system. It doesn't have integration with everything quite yet, but they're still newer. It was created by 2 women, I believe. And so I like how clean it is. And I just like the way that it functions after I figured it out. So you can sign up until November 2nd, I believe, to get it 50% off. It will go up to $40 per month after that, which is still cheaper than what we were paying at Miller Lite, but yeah. And everybody gets an affiliate link. Like it's nothing special. Like if you sign up, you get an affiliate link too. So yeah, Flowdesk is great. Highly recommend. So far, I've used it once. Granted, we just transferred our list over to that. But so far I like it. I thought it was very easy to use. I know, Jennifer, I need to go get those pipe cleaners from Hobby Lobby. Lily, yay! I'm so glad you're still here. I miss you. We should talk soon. And JC says, the advice you gave for the rapid release, if a series, that was good for releasing a standalone book as well. I'm terrible at marketing, so any advice you give, I'm storing up. Yes, if you can write just a small novella. We have several. Like if you go look at Kennedy Fox, look at Roping Him. No. I was like, that's not right. It's Roping the Cowboy. Roping Him as if it was in the Ship Brothers world. Anyway, I'm laughing at my own series jokes. So Roping the Cowboy, we wrote for a podcast, and it's a small novella. I think it's 26,000 words, but it was a series starter for a series that me and Brooke was going to write. It's free. It's always been free. It leads people into our next book, the first book in the series. If you look at Forever Mine, which is free, it's always been free. It's on Amazon, and I think that one is like 16,000 words. I'd have to go look for the exact word count, but it's not super long. If you can write something that's like 15,000 words and put it on BookFunnel, go on Fiverr, get some little Fiverr guy to make you a cover for it, stick it on BookFunnel, write you a small little blurb, and build that newsletter. It can be so beneficial for your next launch. I am not even kidding. Like I 100% believe that. Is there a cover designer you'd recommend for romance? We use several. I like Nalja. I can never say her name right. She's very good, and she does really good fantasy. What is her? Nalja. Najla. I'm trying to find what her website is. Najla Quamber Designs. She's really great. Like, and what I love about her is, here, I'll post the link. There you go. What I love about her is her prices are listed, and she is super freaking creative. I can't even like, guys, like for the prices she charges, y'all are gonna be like, what? So she's got the ultimate full point. She's got the ultimate 2.0. So that's like unlimited changes. Like she tells you everything that comes in it. And I think it's like, what is it? $400, 300, 350, 400. I don't know. I can't remember. But she does a great job, and she does fantasy, and she's been doing this for years. So if you're going to pay a cover designer $400, $300, get someone who has the experience. Also, what I like about Najla is she is on top of it with her scheduling. Like on top of it. If she says, I will schedule you in for this day, I will have your files by this day. What do you think about this? She is on it. She will do it for you. She will make it happen. It's streamlined, and the woman doesn't miss dates. She's not one of those cover designers you're going to have to chase down. She's one of those cover designers that's like, hey, this is the date, and she sends it on that date. Like she's very, very good. Another one that we've used recently is Designs by Dana. She's fantastic as well. We've used some others. There are some that I would not recommend. I'm very time oriented, and if you say you're going to have something by this date, send it to me. Don't make me track you down. So, but anyway, oh, Terrellyn's saying, just a heads up, I contacted, she said, yeah, she is super busy. So I don't know if she's taken new clients, but there are a lot of them. Like what I would suggest that you do is find someone who release book cover that you love, and typically they put who their designer is in the front, and contact your designer. That's how I found mine when I first started writing. I literally went to Amazon. I looked at the top 100. I found covers that I actually liked. I downloaded the preview. I went to the copyright page where they listed their cover designer. I went to their website, and then I reached out to them and said, hey, I am writing this book. This is what it's going to be about. Do you have any availability in your schedule? This is the date that I would need it by. I found my first cover designer like that. Nobody recommended her to me. So, I'm with Send in Blue. It was an AppSumo deal. Oh, nice. That's awesome. I've not heard of them, I don't think, but AppSumo is chef's kiss with those deals. Yes. Seriously, like go get all the social medias for your author business. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, although I hate it. Get a YouTube. Even if you don't use it, just to save your name, you know. Paula, I would pay for beta readers. I've talked about that in the past. I was getting my books. I was trying to rewrite my books before I realized that I may not actually want to do that right now. And I found a paid beta reader. She was great. She sent me 10 pages of notes. It was awesome. What I love about paid beta readers is they're usually between $50 and $100 each. And there is a monetary exchange. So they are obligated to give you feedback. And it's even better when they're not your friends because they don't care about your feelings. They tell you the truth, which is what you need as an author. So yeah, I found my paid beta readers on Goodreads in a Goodreads group. And I've recommended the girl that I use to many people. I know Terrellyn had reached out to her. Terrellyn found another beta reader that she said was amazing. And I would actually recommend you find a paid one instead of asking your friends because you want solid feedback. You don't want someone to tell you, oh, it was great. I wouldn't change a thing. That's not helpful. Here's the Flowdesk link again. If you're just starting out, there are free newsletter servers because right now I'm using a free one until I can switch over later to a paid one. Yep, MailerLite will give you 1,000 free subscribers. And I think they even have automation that they offer with their free account too. So MailerLite is a great place to start. just when you have to start paying, I would definitely shop around. So then you're not like paying a ton of money. But Miller Lite, I like them. It's a great solution. Um, I think when you start paying over $40 a month, it's worth going to Flowdesk. But it'll take you a while to get to $40. I think, um, let me go look at their pricing real quick. I haven't looked at their pricing in a long time. Pricing. So we're going to accept all cookies here. Pricing. Okay, so this is the monthly cost. 0 to 1,000 is free. And send 12,000 emails per month. 0 to 1,000 unlimited is $10. 1,000 to 2,500 is $15. 2,500 to 5,000 is $30. And 5,000 to 10,000 is $50. So what I would do is I would stick with Miller Lite until you have 5,000 subscribers, and then I would start shopping around because they were the cheapest option that I found. Y'all know me. I'm about saving that money. That newsletter was fire. It was. Today it was fire. If y'all are not subscribed to our newsletter, we just made a super special top secret announcement of something that we're releasing in January. So yeah, me and Brooke have been working on this side project for something that will release in our shop soonish. And so to know about that, you had to have been subscribed. See what I did there? Now y'all all want to go subscribe to my newsletter. That's what you do to your readers. I don't have enough newsletter subscribers to pay yet. I love the look of Flowdesk, but wish they had it. Yeah, I know. I think it's because since it's unlimited, they have to figure out like what it's worth to them. So I get it. But yeah, like I said, I personally wouldn't switch from Miller Lite until you were paying over $40. And then at that point, it would be worth it to switch to Flowdesk, even if you're paying the $40 instead of the $20. But if you're paying over $40 now or over $20 now for your newsletter, I would go sign up for Flowdesk for sure. Forever Mine. Yep, that's our freebie, guys. Go check it out. If you want to know what I'm talking about with like a prequel that leads people into a series, just go download it to flip through it and skim and see what we did. I'm reading this and taking a drink of coffee. My throat is like from talking so much. That's awesome, Carolyn. Do they do that every year? Because I would totally sign up or share the link for other people. $79, that's great for a one-time thing. That's awesome. Nice. Close to 1,000 subscribers. I love it. Oh, that's an Alja's thing. I have a list of cover designers. If anyone wants that, I've used only a couple so far. My first cover designer I found because of us. Y'all were using her. Nice. Who was it? I'm kind of curious because there's some designers that we've used that I would not recommend. That's not me throwing shade. That's me being real life. Just unprofessional. And y'all know me. I'm like corporate Courtney over here. I just don't. I have very little patience with people that we pay who are unprofessional. Like, I'll fire you and find somebody else. And I usually do the firing. Ask Brooke. She's like, I'm like, that person's fired. Fired. I'm doing it. Taking care of it. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I used the one. Yes, I've used another one who's amazing, which I can share too if anyone wants that too. Yeah, Carolyn, drop some names. I'm sure people would love to find out some cover designers that you recommend. You don't have to drop the bad ones. Just PM me because I'm curious who you used. Because one of them just really pissed me off. So, yes, Valerie, I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to keep it up so y'all can rewatch it. So I would recommend WordPress self-hosted. I would use the Divi theme, D-I-V-I. It's by Elegant Themes, and it is basically like a drag and drop type of website. If you go to our Kennedy Fox one, or if you go to my Lyra Parish one, you'll see that that was built with Divi. And it's just really easy to use because it's literally like drop in a text box or an image box. And so it's all about boxes with it. And it will grow with you and your career. If you want to do a shop later, if you want to host videos or like uh, reader magnets or any of those things, like WordPress self-hosted can do that. Wix is easy. I've not used Squarespace. I like with WordPress self-hosted that you're not constantly paying to get more features. Like you've got all the features, you just have to figure out how to get them on your site. You know what I'm saying? And self-hosting is not that expensive. You can find deals all the time, and Black Friday's coming. You know, GoDaddy and all those places will mark stuff down. You can get it for pretty cheap. We're currently on SiteGround is where we're hosted right now. We were on GoDaddy, but they ticked me off, so I moved our entire website to a different hosting platform. And yeah, I think GoDaddy is good until you get to a level where you have thousands of people visiting your website per day. They couldn't handle it, and I didn't have time for that. So Bluehost is good too. So any of those. JC, yeah, WordPress. Okay, guys, I think I have answered everything. Do you have any more questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace, or until I get 8,000 subscribers when I do another one of these. Let's see. This is the final countdown. I am going to stay on here for 5 more minutes. So, final countdown, guys. How many books should one publish a year to have a good shot at making this a full-time career? That's a hard one. It's really hard because I think it depends on genre. It depends on like if you're in Kindle Unlimited or if you're on all platforms. But I can tell you that when I was starting, I had a full-time job and I published between 4 and 5 books per year. I think that you should not overpromise and underdeliver and just stick with the schedule that works for you, and not jump on that train of, well, all these other authors are releasing once per month, I need to as well, because that's how you burn out. So you just have to figure out, I think, your own schedule and stick to it and be consistent with that. And whatever it is, like I think personally releasing, 4 to 5 books per year is great. That gives you a book every 3 months. So right when you get that downhill slide of your last release, you release another one and you go back up. And yeah, I think it's really just about being consistent. I don't think it's the amount of books you publish, it's how consistent you are with your publishing. If that even makes any sense. Being consistent and releasing 4 books every year is better than not being consistent and releasing 5 books altogether and then not publishing for 2 years and then coming back. So yeah, and it changes. As Kennedy Fox, I think we would release 6 or 7 books, and we've gone up to 8 in a year. And next year, I think we're going down to 6. So I don't think there's a definite number. There are authors who release 1 book per year and make more money than I've dreamed of. So it depends. Yeah, Tash, she's good. She has a lot of really great pre-mades if you're in her group. Perfect. Yeah. You're welcome. Same, JC. Should I have more than 1 book ready for release before I self-publish my first? So Sarah, I would say if you can do that, your stress level will be like way less. If I could do it all over, Like, I think about this often. If I could do it all over, I would have written my entire trilogy from the beginning before I released the first book. So then reviews wouldn't have negatively affected me. And I wouldn't have let those thoughts that I read in those bad reviews get into my head. And so I would have written the entire series and given myself plenty of time and done like, release every 2 to 3 months on a schedule. They're already ready to go. Nothing I need to do as I was writing the next series, and give myself enough time between publishing to have the whole series done before I release the first book. In a perfect world. That's never happened for me. I wish that it could. Um, if I had not published anything at all and I was just writing, I would try to get as many books backlogged as possible, because once you start, you want to keep going. You don't want to stop. Consistency really is key. Oh, yeah, Terilyn, I'm so glad you're here. When I told my dad I wanted to be a writer, he told me to write all the books first, then release slowly so that I could be working on book 7 while 3 is being published. It's not a bad idea, but it takes some people years to write 7 books. So I think being like 2 books ahead or 3 books ahead, depending on how fast or slow of a writer you are, is a good thing. It's never a bad thing to be ahead. It gives you time to really focus on your next series or the next books that you're writing once that series is done. So yeah, it's good advice. Desiree, thank you for being you and making these videos. You are amazing. Thank you, Desiree. I need to come visit you in Colorado. You seriously live in my favorite city. Jealous. Thank you so much for doing this, and congrats on reaching 7K. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome. Hello, pumpkin. I love pumpkins. Matthew, can you shout out my brother? Matthew, are you a freaking scammer bot? Do I need to block you? Don't make me be that person. Emily, congrats on 7K. Oh, yay, you're welcome. So the fact that I have 6, JC, yes, if you have 6, girl, you could literally just, if I had 6 manuscripts ready right now, hypothetically, is it a series? I should have asked that. Is it all standalones? What is it? I would seriously spend 2 months editing all of them, self-editing all of them, because it would take me about 2 weeks per book. So however long that takes. I would send them all to an editor, and then I would literally rapid release every other month for an entire year. And just take that entire year as the rapid releases were going on to write the next 6. For real. Yeah, but you were talking about some other crap earlier. What were you talking about? XRP? Like, who are you? I'm about to go to your YouTube channel right now. I don't trust it when people are like, say this. Why? Why? Come on. This is strange. Sorry, Matthew. I don't we're not playing these games. Make me act like a savage on my live stream, okay. I wrote 5 drafts in 1 year, burned myself out, and just getting back. Yeah, that's a lot of writing. And when you write and you don't release, you don't really see the reward. You don't get the thrill of releasing. You don't get the practice of releasing. So there's a pros and cons to it. It's great to be ahead though. So that's awesome. Hey, message me anytime. 3 are in a series. That's money, girl. That is money you're leaving on the table. I would definitely work on that series so you can get it out there and then wrap it or release it. 100%. Are the standalones interconnected, or are they just like straight up standalones? Because what I would almost do is I would release one book in the series, skip a month, release another book that's a standalone, skip a month, release the next book, the second book in the series, and then the standalone, and then the series, and then the standalone. So then you've got people constantly coming in from different starting points of your books. And those who are into the series, hopefully you've done the first book with a like massive cliffhanger. Hopefully they'll pre-order book 2 and 3. So while you're finding those readers for your standalones, you also have those people who you are introducing to your series as well. That is some money. Straight up standalone, exactly. I would do it exactly like I just said then. I would kind of string along the series and publish those standalones in between the series, and just do it like that. And I would almost do it not like every other month. I would do it every 6 weeks. So then the people who were really into your series, they don't have that much, like they don't have to wait that long. But yeah, I would do every 6 weeks on that for sure. Except for maybe the last standalone, I'd maybe add it for 2 months just to buy yourself a little bit extra time. Because if it's a standalone, nobody's really waiting for it. You know what I mean? It's just like it stands alone. It's its own thing. But when you are releasing in a series and you can release those standalones in between it can be very helpful because, you know, you have different entry points for people to find you in your work. Yes, I would love to. I have so much footage from that one signing that I went to, Holidays with the Bells. And the event people, the event hosts, I guess you would call it, they were like, hey, we're trying to make, a promo video for Holiday with the Bells. And you're like the only one who has video of this entire event. And I was like, use whatever you want. Like, I'm totally okay with it. But I like vlogging them. It's a lot of fun. Yes, JC. Oh my gosh. Seriously, message me at any point if you want to hear my opinions. I'll happily give them to you. But yeah, I think that you could really just snowball effect your releases if you did it like that. For sure. And then when the last book, and so what I would do is for your standalones is for your back matter, I would link them to the pre-order to your next standalone that you have coming. Because people who read standalones don't always read series and vice versa. Like some people just want a one and done. They don't want to commit to all these books unless they're all released. And so just make sure that your back matter for those standalones link to the very next one that you're going to release next. And I think you could really see growth in your pre-orders and see your momentum just grow if you release them kind of like quickly back to back, but giving yourself enough time where you're not burning out. So Paulo, it takes us about 2 days to plot, and that's about 16 to 20 hours on the phone of me and Brooke plotting, talking to each other, and then it's 2 or 3 days. I mean, we've done it in 2 days before, but it's typically like 3 days. And then we start writing immediately after we plot it. By the last one, heck yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, 2022 could totally be your year. I'm not even kidding, JC. Like, it could straight up be your year. I mean, especially if you started like releasing these, like, I'd give yourself January. You know what I'm saying? Like, January is a great month to publish, but a lot of trad pub releases then, and like you have to have your book in early because Amazon's closed for the holidays. And so I would start in February. February is like a great month to start this little thing. And then if you let's see, let me look at my calendar app real quick. See, I could plan out your whole year for you right now. So let's see, I would start like February 1st. It's a Tuesday. Let's say February 1st, and give yourself 6 weeks. So then you've got February 1st is your first release, March 8th is your second release, April 19th is your third release, and then May, I would probably scoot it in to where it's like May 31st. Is that a holiday? No, the holiday is the 30th. That's Memorial Day. And then go back to your 6 weeks, so July 12th, and then go back to your 6 weeks, and that would put you into September. So like you would literally have releases for the entire year, and they would all be linked to each other with your back matter and stuff. And if you had pre-order up, I think you could definitely kill it, especially if, you know, these were edited, ready to go. Like you've got pre-order up, back matter is updated, your covers are beautiful, you've got a nice blurb, you can maybe do some low budget Facebook ads for like 7 days of your release. I think you could do pretty good. I really do. I have the first 2 books of a series written, also book 1 of a second series. Book 1 of series 1 and 2 are almost completely done. I'm wondering if I should go back and forth releasing them. So my jaw is doing something weird. Hold on. Okay. I got that TMJ because I don't always wear my retainer. So what I have learned when you are releasing 2 series. Now, this is not the holy grail. Like, you have to test everything for your own books. But when it's series and not standalones, like with JC's case, she has a series and 3 standalones. So I feel like, you know, you've got 2 different types of readers, but you're doing 2 different series. And I have found that it's better to release all of the series together closer before starting another series. And the reason why I say that is because we tried it for like 2 years, and people will pre-order. It has nothing to do with pre-orders. I think it's harder to get in the mindset of those books when there's so much space between them. And that's from like the writing standpoint. And then there's the marketing standpoint where you're trying to market 2 different series kind of hard. And so you can kind of like burn people out in a sense. So I think with series, it's good to focus on one and then move to the other, because people love to binge books. And the quicker you can finish the series, the more money you can make on that series, because you can do promos on the first one. So I think the strategy, that word sounded weird when I said it out loud, is a little different when you're doing series versus series and standalones. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, it might work for you. It did not work for us. We tried it. It was highly recommended by other people. And we do better when we release the same series back to back. When our Circle B Ranch series are all released back to back, people want to binge the whole series. When we skip and go to a different series like we're doing for this one, it's harder to capture new readers, I feel like, because there's so much time between the first and second book. People want to jump on social trains. So if everybody's talking about the series, you know, everybody wants to read it right then. And when you have so much space between books and series, you know, you lose kind of some of the excitement and the variability of that. I was getting ready to start an MG series that's been on my heart to write. Do it. I have an MG trilogy out. I love hearing from my readers. MG is a bit different with marketing, but you can make money on it. Yeah, man, I hope y'all both just kill it with those books. How did you tell your family that you were writing steamy romance? I'm scared. I mean, I just told my dad, I was like, I write romance books and one day I'm going to quit my job. And it was just accepted. My mom knows, but she's just kind of like, doesn't care, I guess. She's just like, oh, cool. Awesome. She also doesn't get on social media. She has no idea like the level it's at. She just knows that I write books and I guess she kind of thinks it's a hobby. I don't know. Um, as far as like my other family, I don't really like them, so I don't care what their opinion is. I've never actually told them that I write romance. I mean, I put it on Facebook, but it's I don't know. Like, I guess I never really cared because I knew that my parents weren't going to judge me, and that was all that really mattered. Um, I was more concerned about my friends finding out and being judged by people that I just really cared about. And I was really worried about people in my corporate life finding out. And they did. They found out. I had a lady in the elevator stop me one time looking like a hot ass mess, getting on the elevator, me, running late because I stayed up till 4 a.m. She's like, "Good morning, Courtney." She was like 60. And I was like, "Good morning." I'm not a morning person. I'm the devil in the morning. And she was like, I heard you write those books that we really like. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, there was like a work group of older women. There was like 15 of them, and they would go to wine tastings and eat Mexican food and stuff like every week. And apparently it was brought up at one of their dinners. So they all knew. And yeah, I was really concerned about that. It was like my job finding out, my work friends and employees finding out, and my real life friends finding out. So I kept it a secret for a while. So I have a pen name. Yes, I love it, JC. I love it. Just remember me when you're like a billionaire. Okay. Be like, thank you, Courtney. Like, I expect the dedication when you're just making those billions on your MG books because you rapid released. You're welcome, Roseanne. Yeah. Um, I'm 26 with a husband, but some days I still feel like I'm 13 and shouldn't be writing steamy romance. I can't get over the fact that I'm not. It's okay. I started writing when I was, how old was I? 26? 27? I think I started writing when I was 27. Let me do some math. I think around that age, actually. It was, I wouldn't say embarrassing for me, but hold on. I'm trying to see how old it was. Okay, so I was 27 when I first started writing. And it was difficult for me because like when people imagine me writing, they don't imagine me writing romance. And so I got a lot of like pushback from like different people, and like one of my friends' moms was always like, "I read your book. Was that your diary?" And I'm like, "No, it's not." You ask Will and he says yes. It's our diary, but it's not. And so there was a lot of like embarrassing moments like that. But then at some point I was like, you know what? I really don't care what anybody thinks. I like writing romance, and people in my real life can say things, people online can say things. There's gonna be haters everywhere. I just like writing romance. I do write YA fantasy, and they are trilogies, so it'd probably be better to do them one at a time. I just have scrolled. I call that. Oh man, what's that saying that I have? Shiny object syndrome. It's where you're like, ooh, this is a good idea. It's like a light bulb, and you're like, oh, I want to write that. I want to write this. I have cousins who are younger than me and having kids, and I'm like, you're 9, you can't do that, but they're really 23. I know it's kind of like a shock. Getting older does that to you, I think, though. I have friends that I worked with, and their kids are like about to graduate high school, and I'm like, no, like they're about to like they're dating people. They drive around. Like, when did that happen? I don't think that ever goes away. So, okay, I think I got everything. I think I got everybody, right? I'm gonna call it a night, guys, because this was only supposed to be an hour, and we are almost 3 hours and 45 minutes later. So I appreciate you all being here for my 7,000 subscriber celebration. I hope that you found this helpful and that there were good nuggets of information. I will keep the replay, I'll keep it up. So if anyone wants to go back and watch it on replay, you are more than welcome to. But yeah, thank you for subscribing, guys. Like, I never thought that I would get here. Like, I never thought that I would have 1,000 subscribers, more or less 7,000. I always have goals for my channel, and like in 2021, one of my big goals was to make 10,000 subscribers. And I think that if my life wouldn't have been what it was this year, then I would have been able to make videos on a schedule, and maybe I would have hit that goal. Maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know. Nobody knows because it didn't happen. So I'm just, instead of like looking at that big number of 10,000, I'm like, you know what? I'm proud and happy with, you know, everyone that's clicked the button and the bell and the likes and comments on my videos, and I appreciate you. Y'all are the reason why I continue making videos. 100%. Like, I don't have to do it. Sometimes I'm like, why do I do it? You know, but it's because of y'all. And I know that it helps people, and I want us all to be successful. I don't care what genre anybody writes in. I know there's elitists out there who think romance books aren't real or whatever, but you know, I think that there's room for everybody, regardless of the genre that you write. And self-publishing at its basics and its foundation is essentially the same. We all write our books one word at a time. We all press publish the same exact way. And the way we market it might be a little different, but at its basic form, it's exactly the same. And so I just think that there is enough room for everyone. And I think that we can all be successful. Someone making $100,000 doesn't affect me. And so I want everyone to get to the level that they want to be at in their writing careers. And I want everyone to quit their jobs if that's what they want. And I want everyone to be able to do that. And making these videos and sharing what I know could possibly change someone's life. And that's huge for me because, you know, I would have loved to have, you know, someone like me who's like just sharing everything, because that didn't exist. And so anyway, after that big long spiel, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to not talk for a little while. Like, my extrovert heart is so happy right now, but I haven't talked this much in so long that like my throat hurts. But I'm happy to do it. And when we hit 8,000 subscribers in our little YouTube family, guys, we'll do it again. Maybe we'll go for 4 hours next time. I don't know. 1 hour was a joke. I should have never even thought that. So anyway, I love you guys. I am recording videos. I've got some stuff that I have to record right now. I have to unbox something, and I have to make an Nanowrimo video. I don't know what I'm going to make it over yet, but I've committed to post it next Friday. So I've got videos to make, so y'all will see me very soon. And I hope y'all have an amazing weekend. If you're writing, I hope you get tons of words, and check the community tabs for live streams because they'll be happening sometime soon. So have a good weekend, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.